1, 2. Okay.
Hello and welcome to DCP plus SideQuest. How's everybody doing this fine evening? TV couldn't be here. He is currently buying a new shaver for his artistic nudity stream. We're all looking forward to it.
Of course. Yeah. Very intriguing that he had those assets just ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
He had ideas like just on deck, as if he'd been thinking about it for years.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
I'm excited. Yeah. Maybe we'll get some a live stream from his canoe.
That's what I was gonna say.
While
yes.
The whiskey review from the canoe.
Drinking whiskey.
With some artistic nudity.
Adds to the flavor.
Seems like a winner to me.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty calming. Yeah, just a dude in the lake.
Dude in the lake
with him
getting
naked. Whiskey.
Getting drunk.
Connecting with nature.
Naked with Nature, featuring True Vanguard.
Yeah, it's hard to believe how little freedom we actually have, right?
I know, right?
What is the actual deal with the artistic thing? I've seen people meme on it, but I actually don't know what got changed.
I literally just read the headline. It's like, this is gonna be fun to talk about.
Yeah, right.
Twitch changed their TOS. The TLDR is that the reason that they were, I guess, more strict around TOS was before they introduced tags. So now that they have tags and they can give people tags, if you're doing like sexual content or you're drawing like nude art or something, you can tag your stream as that, and then they can moderate it that way. So they don't have to have like a blanket, no nudity stuff, period. And then some people get banned, some people don't get banned, people don't know the rules, it's confusing. They can just say, just tag it so people can't get access to it who shouldn't have access to it.
So now I can draw penises in games. That's what you're telling me.
Oh yeah. The furries are out. The penises are large.
I gotta do some research on this.
Good time. You just gotta load up the art category and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have their own category. They're like in
artistic.
the art category.
They're in the art category. It's artistic. Yep.
Okay, interesting. Right, so emotes. Did anything change about emotes?
I don't think so.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I can't
not
have
that-
booba in the emotes. But just eggplant's okay. Artistic eggplant is fine.
Yeah, like it's
artistic. Yes.
It's not that they're allowing nudity or anything. It's just that they're saying, okay, well, there is artistic nudity, and within art,
yes,
you can express yourself so many different ways. So we're just gonna call it artistic nudity. But yeah, you can't just like whip it out on Stream Island. Sorry. So
not even if I tag it.
No.
Yeah, what if I tag
wild
Australian
peen on the
eggplant?
loose?
Dang. My dreams are shattered. Back
Australian
to
baby carrot.
baby carrot.
Okay.
That would bring a new. If you did that, Grenada Jake might be upset at you because that's a whole new.
True.
A whole new
That's a whole
thing with the carrot commander would be a different thing.
Man.
Is that copyright infringement?
Maybe that's what his carrot thing is all about. I've never asked.
You've never been like, excuse me, can I check to see if this is what the carrot's about?
I mean, where does the carrot stuff come from, right? It's
he likes carrots.
I mean, does he? I've never seen him eat one on stream.
He would always eat carrots on stream, and then that's where it came from. Yeah.
Woody, I never saw that. Oh.
Like, I don't mind carrots as a snack, but it is a weird kind of thing to attach yourself to.
It really is. Yeah. Maybe he was artistically eating them. You know what I mean?
Oh, artistic carrot eating stream. Now that's one. That's one that Fran's viewers would pay a lot of money for. I know that for a fact.
Apparently every time I eat something, they want me to I've eaten a banana on stream. This is partially where this came from. So I never again.
I'd love to see this.
No, never again. Banana's a great snack.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
It's not a baby carrot. It's a banana. That's me. Yeah.
Guys, I have some
Right, what's
exciting
happening?
news. I played the
Copy.
Tekken 8 demo today.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
nice.
I gotta tell you, I wrote down some notes. I don't usually do this. You know me, I'm like averse to preparing for anything ever.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
But
No, it's
I
true.
had to write down some notes because the story for this game, the demo is kind of cool. Is it has like a bunch of different modes, and you can kind of try out the different modes. You can play PvP online. You can play player versus computer. There's only like 4 selectable characters, so it's like a limited demo, but still, like it's enough to like check it out and play around with it. It's available on PlayStation 5. That's where I downloaded it. I assume it's on Xbox and PC as well, but I'm not actually positive of that. I'd have to look. But I got
How
the
is
story.
it?
The story
Okay.
starts out. All right, so the story opens with Jin Kazama. Do you guys know the characters of Tekken? Jin Kazama.
He was my first
Yes.
true love.
Lampshade Man.
Yeah.
Tiger
I fell in
dude.
love with that man when I was a child.
Jin
My
is
first
right.
crush?
Well, you're gonna
No,
love
second.
this, Watts, because he goes. Jin's riding his motorcycle through the war-torn streets when he sees his father Kazuya
Does
casually.
he have a hoodie on?
No, but his hair is immaculate.
Okay, well, acceptable.
He sees
I'll
so
take it.
Jin sees his father Kazuya casually cruising around in his helicopter, just like 20 feet off the ground, like on the streets of Tokyo. Just as you do when you're a baller
As you do.
billionaire.
And you get really good wind effects.
Yeah, Jin, of course, sees his father, swerves his motorcycle, jumps it off a destroyed police car, rides it vertically up a 10-story brick building, right? Just straight up the brick building, hits the cornice, so now he has jumped off of the vertical and is now upside down, whips around, grabs his motorcycle, and yeets it at the helicopter, which, of course, smashes into the helicopter. The helicopter crashes to the ground, blows up, huge explosion. And then after the crash, Kazuya just does this like slow, cool guy walk out of the fiery inferno. He's completely unscathed because he's a motherfucking boss. He then says some mean shit to his son, and the first round of the first fight begins, right? That's all the prologue to the first round of the fight, right?
Wow. Is this a story mode?
Yeah, this is like the very beginning. And like, I'm not trying to spoil anything. There's spoiling stuff that happens. This is just like action, and it's like just the demo, right? So after you beat Kazuya's corporate ass in round 1, a missile comes out of nowhere. Just nowhere. Like there's no context to where this missile is coming from.
A missile?
Yeah, it just boom, right between the two of you while you're still faced off. Blows up. Jin, who's completely unaffected by the blast, is left kind of searching for his deadbeat dad in the smoke. Kazuya, who's, he's the CEO of Mushima Corporation. He does what CEOs do, and he tries to sucker punch his son. He just kind of like walks out of the smoke and tries to sucker punch his son. Like
that's
a CEO.
what they're known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This triggers a quick time event, but lucky for Jin, my cat-like reflexes save his trust fund ass on the third try. Round 2 of the fight then commences.
I like that.
Round 2, right? After you whip Kazuya's ass again, as the prophecy foretold, Kazuya brings up some old shit about some dumb genocide that Jin doesn't even like talking about. Jin gets mad, causing a massive crystal to erupt from his forehead and some wings to appear from his back.
Oh, the wings, of course.
That starts round 3 of the fight, right?
Is this our Dark Souls game?
Yeah. It sounds a little like one sometimes.
Is there kind of like lore to why everyone has powers when it comes to
This
Tekken?
This is the 8th game, and actually, if you go, there's like a theater mode, and you can watch the stories for the previous 7 games, so you can catch up.
Oh,
right.
Like there's like an explanation for why people can like ride up a building.
Not a satisfactory one.
Okay.
So after the third round, Jin busts Kazuya's ass the third time, which is surprisingly easy because I'm using the new simplified control scheme, which is basically like
I
auto
didn't know
combats.
they added that.
Yeah, easy auto combos. You can like
Street Fighter-esque.
Very Street Fighter-esque. Like there's even like kind of super moves, and you can switch that on and off like during the middle of a fight, which is kind of nice.
I thought you said super boobs for a second.
also super
Now
boobs.
that's a game me and
Artistically, though.
Mylan have been
Artistic
playing.
super boobs.
In one moment.
Yeah.
So now that he's got this crystal coming out, like he's got this new like kind of crystal therapy power, he uses his magic to throw 3 cars at once at Kazuya. He then blasts him with his brain laser, and he picks him up by the dome. Like he picks him up like by the top of the dome, like you'd pick up a baby. And then he flies into the
how
air.
you pick up babies.
Is that how you do it?
That's how you pick up
That
babies.
explains a
That's
number
how
of
we
things.
do it.
Okay.
He flies up to the air and then just like smashes him face first through a 20-story building from the roof down to the basement, right? Just a boom, 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 right?
Every floor hits.
That
Yeah.
sounds pretty
Yeah.
sick.
This seemed to upset Kazuya. So he literally turns into Satan. And that begins round 4.
Yeah, Devil Jin. Devil
Round
Jin.
4. Yeah, Devil. Devil Jin.
Devil Jin.
Devil,
I love Devil
Devil
Jin.
Kazuya. Sorry, Devil Kazuya.
Devil Kazuya. Jin.
That starts round 4, right? Of your battle. You've now had 4 fights. You then okay. So once you whip his ass again, like a rented Pontiac.
I see why you took notes on this.
Yeah, it's a lot. Kazuya flies up in the air and starts brain lasering every satellite in the sky. They show a camera view out in space, and they show his brain laser coming out of his like third eye, devil eye, and just like wiping out every satellite in space. Which, of course, is the perfect time after that's done to start an international television broadcast to all of humanity.
As you do.
But there's no cameras in sight, and obviously, satellite feeds are down.
So he's talking to
Everybody, because they show it on every screen in the world. He calls every world leader.
But they shot the satellites down. Maybe it's overall like global antenna
Don't
powers.
underestimate
Whatever that is,
the power of Devil Kazuya.
Oh, he's just broadcasting from his devil brain.
from his brain, right? His unicorn horn.
The devil
He's
cast.
now on every television on the planet. He calls every world leader a pussy and announces the first King of the Iron Fist tournament. Oh, by the way, if you don't prove your might
sweet.
at the tournament, you and your entire country will be wiped from the earth. Bang! Tekken 8
Correct.
title screen. Right?
Sweet.
Good,
I'm
right?
in.
Wow.
Money on the table.
That's
Can't
pretty.
tell me you're not
great.
interested.
Honestly-
that's pretty good.
It's Tekken, and I didn't expect anything less.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
good.
great.
I had to play that.
I feel like
pretty
I
good.
like 5
opened-
times.
I feel like I've
Seed.
opened the door to like, some sort of marketing scheme, and you've just started talking at me about like, can I tell you about this game called Tekken?
I was about to
And
say,
you're
like,
are you in or what? I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm in.
yeah.
Get in.
I was gonna say, like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, people play Tekken. Like, what if someone says, like, why should I play Tekken with all these other just play that. What Briar just said for the past 5
Yeah.
minutes. Just play that. And people will be like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, sure. I'll play Tekken. Yeah.
You don't even need the B-roll.
So crazy. It's so fun. The controls are great. It feels like a Tekken game. It's got those simplified controls. There's an easy mode for arcade mode. It's got this new, like, you can, like, make a character and walk around an arcade similar to the Street Fighter 6's, like, their arcade
world
place.
mode.
Yeah, it's not like that full world like Street Fighter 6 has. Not the world tour, but like that little arcadey area.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's very fun though. I haven't played any online yet, so I don't know how the netcode's going to be. Hopefully, I'll have more on that later. But damn, this game looks good. Looks really nice in action. I just got a new TV too, so that helps.
Is this platform demo on like PlayStation or?
I played it on the PlayStation 5. Yes,
Perform well.
it seemed
Good
to.
performance?
Yeah, it's a fighting game, so it needs to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
better. I mean, every polygon into the characters and a few in the background.
Right. Yeah. Man, it looks good though. It looks really nice, and it's just fun. Tekken games are always kind of fun, but this one, I don't know. There's something special about this story.
I feel like
Or
I
like-
need to play just for that intro.
Or like Tekken. More like
That's
Tekken
true.
great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it.
Professional.
What's
what
an
a
I've
ride.
played games without pants this week?
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Pantsless. You got to
Was
be
there
no
a-
pants to join our crew.
Was there a deal made, like no pants allowed, or?
I just really like the gameplay when you're riding a motorcycle.
Sure. You could feel the machine.
I like to feel the air and the machine
Yeah.
meld together on my butt.
Do you prefer leather seats or vinyl seats?
Doesn't matter. It's always raining anyway.
You know, you're pretty safe if it's leather because you stick to it. So you don't fall off.
The gameplay, yeah. Oh, anyway, we have been playing a game called Once Human.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Pretty interesting concept. It was in open beta, and then it got way too much attention. They made it a closed beta. It kind of looks, I don't know, I keep saying it looks like The Division. It's a third-person shooter where you play as a human, but there's aliens, and it's kind of weird.
It is
aliens,
weird.
though. It's not like normal. How would you describe the weird alienness of it? It's like,
Well, let me tell you what's in my new neighborhood where I built my house, and maybe this will help. It is a school bus that has 6 legs, like this.
Yes.
Walks like this, and drops off fellow aliens that aren't really aliens around the map. They're kind of like zombie magic zombies.
Magic zombies? Like friendly magic? White magic?
Purple, pink, scary magic.
I saw a clip of that thing, and it looks like Silent Hill like invaded the Division, something like that.
That's probably a good description of it. Yeah. That's
it's
pretty
like
good.
If Kojima designed zombies,
Yes.
like, it's kind of like that.
Because it's a Chinese game, and generally, like in Asia, they tend to do horror stuff and they do a lot more body horror in general, and they tend to make things a bit creepier when they go with this theme. So
it's really appealing.
Yes.
It looks like so weird that you're drawn into it. You're like, what is this?
I think that's what got you initially, Mylan, right? Because you were like, I'm intrigued because, like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, I saw that it was, I don't know what actually got me. I think it actually was. It was like, this looks weird as hell. And then it was like it's a survival crafting game, very specific to that. But then you also have this like dungeon loot shoot aspect of it. So it's kind of like if you had to go do a strike mission in Destiny, but before you went, you had to craft all your gear, every bullet you got to use, all the guns you're going to use. So it kind of has this like preparation parts where you're like, normal survival crafting, but then you go and do like a dungeon, and everything you bring with you, you've got to like craft before you go in, including your health,
materials
your
on the way. Can you like craft more stuff as you're in there? Or
no, you've got to craft most of it. You got to craft most of it at your base, like a very, very typical like upgrade
Survival
tree.
game.
Yeah, survival game. And when you beat like each world boss, you get the next tier of like, now you can craft iron ore and make iron pickaxe, and then you can make iron bullets and that kind of stuff. But it's 2 genres kind of smashed together, and it kind of works.
It's
How
really
are the
fun.
dungeons? Like
Oh my
how
goodness.
does
A
it feel?
dungeon that we did. So it's just like looks like a regular room, and we're fighting like humans. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we happen upon what appears to be a child's bedroom, but a massive one, and we're like the same size as a plushie.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
I like that.
And then I saw that there was like a pop-up box kind of toy that had a little handle. Yeah, that had a little handle, and it said start the game or something. I was like, okay.
I don't want to start the game.
So
I want to know the rules first.
I press the button, and there's these slides, like kid slides, that have like circles on top of them, and enemies start coming out of those circles.
Oh man.
And it's just like a horde of enemies. We had to kill 100 of them to clear the room.
Yeah.
And it was very freaky, very cool.
It has, someone mentioned in chat, it has like the game Control?
Yeah.
It has that like X-Files, like FBI weird shit vibe going on too. Where
It
like
does, yeah.
Yeah, like we were in this like facility, and then all of a sudden we're like toys in a like toy room that's haunted. Like, what the hell?
It sounds really cool.
What is happening?
It does sound really
It's
cool.
honestly really cool. And the thing that's impressed me the most, I think, is so I tend to fall off survival games kind of quickly. But this one, they introduce you really well. Like the tutorial they have for getting you building stuff is it makes me want to keep going and learning about it. It takes you through all of that. And the pacing is really good. And you're not limited to like 10 spots in a backpack or something until you can make a better backpack. So I always in those games, I go out, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm ready to have an adventure and find a bunch of stuff. And then it's like, I got to go back because my backpack's full. I can't do anything. And I haven't run into that. Like they give you a lot of space for your backpack.
And you get vehicles really early on and teleportation really early on. So it's like the maps are actually pretty fun to explore and the vehicles are pretty fun to drive too. But also you could just like teleport to your home base. So like it takes a lot of the frustrating aspects, like what you're saying with like inventory space and like running backwards and forwards and just having to like get wood or get materials and kind of gets you into the building a little bit quicker, but you could then go and use it in these like dungeons to farm like actual gear. Like you get mods, you actually like gear mods that like bump up your stats and you can farm weapons or materials and like kind of stuff. So
and some of the bosses, it really reminded me of like Returnal in how it looks, because the way that the enemies look and the environment that you're in really reminds me of Returnal. Yeah. It's really good.
To be honest, it's very rough. It's rough around the edges still, but like I think the premise of it is decent and like just it's fun enough to play the way it is. That I think when it is fully polished, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
What's it called again?
I think so.
Once human.
Once human. Yeah.
Is it PC only?
So it's on PC only at the moment, but they do plan on releasing it on console. And they do right now they're working on like controller support. So it will be controller and on console.
I'm definitely gonna check this out. It sounds really fun.
It's really good.
You think you need a group to play, or can you play solo?
You can play solo for sure. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
We got a hive going, which is like the clan system, where you can like share all your materials. So we've got a couple. I think they're your mates. I think one's like decorating the house.
Zealous is my moderator, and he has built essentially a mansion. Just build a mansion for us. So
why not, right? Treat yourself.
You gotta, like, oh, cool.
You gotta treat yourself when the aliens come and invade. You know?
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. Because you have to claim your territory, like your building territory. And some people have got like explored and they're on top of a mountain, you know, like these mountain views and like balconies and like they got cooking stuff out there. We got a pretty good spot, but we are near a swamp with crocodiles in it, but it's okay. Fresh water.
You got Florida.
Yeah, we got Florida.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It is funny because this game really is, and will take us to a game we can talk about as well. It is unironically what the day before was trying to be. So if you were interested in the day before, it's that. It's an MMO open world survival looter apocalypse game.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, there's so much to play that I'm like, this is totally up my alley. But I was just looking, and it's a closed beta, or sorry, it's a open beta, right? But do we know how
now?
Oh, it is closed now. Okay.
They closed it like a couple of days ago.
Okay. Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, it's listed as coming out in Q3 of 2024. So, like, in other words, if you were to want to try it out, it seems like if you didn't get in, maybe you missed out. Is that right?
No, they're sending out invites every day. So if you just go to the website and request to be in the beta, you might get an invite. But yeah, they're sending invites out.
Keep requesting, and then I don't know if we know when it ends, do we?
I don't think it goes for very long. I want to say it's actually soonish, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. Is I don't know the details, but the last beta they did apparently was like a week long, and I was just double checking for those like me who are like, I could always check this out later, and then I'm like, oh wait, I probably can't. So you might want to try to hop in now if you're thinking about it. Otherwise,
yeah, definitely try and get yourself a code for sure. Give it a try. It's really good. I think they've got something pretty awesome here.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like the individual like genres by themselves. I don't think anything special. Like the crafting is pretty typical, the survival's pretty typical, and then the like the dungeons. Like if you just played that dungeon in Destiny or something, you'd be like, yeah, that was fun, that's fine. But it's like the aspect of having to go out there and like build everything and then prepare and then go into that dungeon that makes it like kind of unique, and it like bumps up the I guess the risk. Like I went in a couple of times like, oh well, I'm out of med kits now, unless I want to go back home and like go chop down trees and go farm materials. Like I got no more med kits, I'm just out of med kits, like I've got to pass it this time, kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's the unique aspect of the spin, I think, that makes it interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun.
So who played who got a refund on the day before?
I did.
Me too.
Played it, got a refund.
So the refunds went through, huh?
Yeah, my refund went through. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. From the internet,
got-
from Twitter, it looked kind of messy.
I got everything I needed from it. I got featured on an Asmongold video. I'm a micro niche famous.
Dude, I saw that video, even just on like some random clip about the day before, and all of a sudden Mylan's face shows up, and I'm like, whoa.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, Mylan's been in a bunch of videos about the day before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I basically, for those who didn't see it, for whatever reason there was a bug, and it was making other players in the game huge, like as big as a building. Their head. So like I saw this basically giant head popping out of the ground. I'm like, what is that? And it was a player's little body attached to it. And it was just mad. Like the head was as big as a building. And yeah, it was just like follow me around. And that was the kind of the standard of that
Yep.
I didn't realize there was
Level
a
of
little
quality.
body attached.
Yeah.
There's a little body.
That makes
body
it so
attached.
much better.
Yeah, just running around. Yeah. For those who didn't play it or didn't get into it, because I actually played a bit of it before it went down. It was meant to be a MMO survival, similar to something like DayZ, where you can decide to shoot other people, or you can decide to be friendly, and you go out into the world and you craft and you survive and you drink food and you make campfires and la la la.
Yep.
Ends up being a very, very typical extraction shooter.
Very bad extraction shooter.
You have a hub world with like, I don't know how many people per server. It was not many because the servers were getting slammed. And you have vendors, you get bounties, and you literally like go, not extract. You go into the map, and other people get dumped in too, and you got to go collect gear, and then you literally extract. And it was an extraction shooter. And that was kind of like the first, well, not the first red flag. This is one of many red flags about the game.
Yeah.
When people got into it, they're like, this is not what you saw. And like, even on Steam, the description is an MMO survival game. And it's not. It's a extraction shooter.
It's an extraction shooter, 100%.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's nothing else.
Why would you not
and-
sell it as that? It seems like the hottest like ticket around. Why would you not like be upfront like, oh, it's an extraction shooter, just like everybody wants to play right now?
So they got the most, at one point in time, that was the most wish list game. That's how this got so much attention on Steam.
This is
And
that
it was
one
a
with the
trailer.
demo that looked like so good, right?
Yeah.
Or like a
yeah.
trailer that
They,
looked like
they were on
hyper realistic graphics.
Yeah, they were on like Nvidia's YouTube channel showing off like RTX on the game, and they had like, they're doing a shootout in a grocery store, and there's physics of all the items that are flying everywhere, and there's a car that gets stuck in the mud, and you're like pushing the car out of the mud. Like there's a lot going on in that game besides it just looking a lot better. That none of that was in the actual game at all. Like none of it.
Yeah. So I think the reason why they didn't change it is I think it originally got a lot of traction because people were kind of like, people like DayZ, but it's janky as hell, and would love for like basically an updated DayZ kind of game. And I think they got the attention for that, and what Watts was saying, and then maybe they just didn't update it. I think back in the day as well, maybe extraction shooter wasn't like even though Tarkov's been around for a while, extraction shooter is probably a fairly new term for like the general gamers. I think like I was surprised when Marathon
Makes
got
sense.
That's
announced
true.
how many people didn't know what an extraction shooter was. So
Yeah.
you could see how you could twist it to be an MMO survival because there's lots of people in there and it's like a survival, but it definitely fits the extraction shooter genre, which is what it is.
Definitely.
And then the game was just like there was nothing that separated the game from any other game. Like it just borrowed aspects and designs from everything else, and it was just a very standard affair that didn't run well. Didn't particularly look good either. So
No, it was really bad. I got to experience a game for the first time that I can only imagine you put the ability to shoot in the game, but you do nothing else to it. Just like you can shoot the gun in the game. There's nothing that makes the actual shooting feel good at all. When you shoot a zombie, they take a couple seconds to actually react to being hit. It's
Stupid
no hit
zombies.
markers is nothing. It's so bad. And even when it comes to extraction shooters, they had one place to extract. Well, like two extraction spots.
double.
And they were always the same.
Oh, really?
Oh,
So you
God.
just camp them?
You can just camp it.
Yeah, I
You can just
camped for
camp
a
it.
little bit just for fun.
Did you find anybody? I heard that the servers were like super empty.
I did find people.
I did,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I was on day one though that I played, and I did find people. And but the thing is, like Wad said, there's only 2 extraction zones, and it was like 2 narrow areas you had to go through. So a couple times, I literally just camped in this like narrow alleyway with a shotgun, and just waited for people to walk past, and then blasted them.
Jesus.
And because it's
Yep.
third person too, you know, like
my
that's
God.
like you could just
Destiny
peek around
players know
literally.
about 3-peeking.
you just 3-peek everything. You could just be
3-peek the
behind
game.
a rock and just waiting for someone to walk right up to you, and then blast them. And like the AI, like the zombies are very bad and very standard. Like you just jump on a car and they can't do anything. There's no melee in the game, so
There's
you
no
just always
melee.
need a gun.
In a survival game. No melee.
No melee.
Can you
yeah.
run out of bullets in this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're just defenseless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you lose everything
You've got
and you
yeah.
have no melee.
So they don't even give you like a starter pistol, like if you lose everything.
They give you like a fund or something.
Yeah,
I
if
think
you've got
it's-
nothing. Yeah,
if you've got
you get
nothing,
like
they give you a
500 bucks.
yeah.
So wait, if you do lose everything and jump in the next round or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
how do you get your gun to shoot?
You just
Or-
have to try to scrounge up like
Like if you didn't have
materials.
money. Okay.
Yeah, you literally
So-
just run around with no weapons, just trying to get like loot and then get out and sell it.
But this
Buy
game
it.
isn't
Okay.
even for sale anymore, right? They like took it down.
No, they took it
No.
off.
The
Yeah.
company went out of business immediately. Like it's
Oh my
it's
God.
yeah, I
gone.
forgot about that.
It's
Yeah.
gone, right?
Okay, so if anyone knows, if you're making a game, I assume you know something about something, right? So when
They
you
were
put out
making
a
a game.
game, when you put out a game, it's not like I put my game on Steam for $40. Someone spends $40, it goes into my pocket immediately. You have to wait. Just like when you start a job, you don't get paid day of. You have to wait a month or 2 weeks or however long it is.
That's
So
why you
these
steal from
guys-
the cash register your first week.
So these guys put it into early access, charged people money, closed down 4 days later. They knew, obviously, well ahead of when they put it into early access, that they didn't have enough money to continue and had to close down. Because you're not going to get the money right away. If you didn't have enough money 4 days after the game comes out, you didn't have enough money a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to continue having the studio be open and do all of these patches. So I've played bad games. I've played games that are made by like a 19-year-old for his university project. They're all better than this, to the point that I wouldn't even say that the day before was a game. It felt like something that you put together to show an investor, to try and get them to give you some money to try and make something happen. It's
Interesting.
Yeah.
not a game at all.
It felt like pre
bad.
alpha to like when the extraction genre didn't even exist yet, and you tried to show people like the idea of what an extraction game would look like.
Right. Yeah.
before you put
Exactly.
any like work into it. And there's like a whole Reddit threads of like all the assets that are just bought off like the Unreal Store and just been like not modified or just used again.
Yeah, and they said that they've been making the game for 5 years, but some of the assets haven't even been around for 2 years. So,
I feel like there's gonna be like a documentary that comes out about like
think
the
there
making
has
of
to
this,
be,
and
yeah.
like, was there something that happened during those 5 years where they were just like, I don't know, we'll get there when we get there, you know? Like, I'm just so curious behind the scenes what even happened.
Yeah, I mean, games implode sometimes. It's not like it's the first story of someone trying to make a game and it implodes. I'm not saying as well, though, that there could have been disingenuous nature on top of it.
that's 100%.
Right.
They're
But-
big old scammers, like
but-
100%.
But the odd part, though, to me, is they had, sort of, like okay games that look. I didn't play them,
Yeah.
but they had released stuff before that was just like okay. Didn't seem down this alley of like overscoped, and then what seemed like a scammy release. So it just seems like odd that they somehow arrive there.
Well, their
but
history though is making games and then dropping them.
right, yeah, they sort of just release stuff and. But
Yeah.
but then it's like I don't know. It's very bizarre, that's for sure, to say the least.
You feel like it's such a waste because how many like game developers are out there doing the right thing and they would have killed to have that much like media coverage and then
Mhm.
to just like drop it, not support it, not follow through on their promises. Like
yeah,
And
I
lie
mean,
about
that's
the genre.
that's the worst part about it. Obviously, is like allowing that spec trailer thing to even exist when like there's clearly no evidence that they were ever going to be able to pull that off. And why would you put that out and like allow it to exist?
the scope of games always change, but the fact that they didn't like tell people that it's actually changed now and turns out it's pretty hard to make.
Right. Yeah, because like what needed to happen was the
Overall
trailer
MMO.
came out.
Yeah.
That was their spec vision, and then they got, like you were saying, the investment they
weeds,
needed,
yeah.
and then it was going to be another 3 years. But like that isn't at all what happened. And then anyway,
Yeah,
just definitely a lot of people saw this coming though.
Yeah, a lot of people did. I was lurking in the Discord because I was like, this is gonna be a trash fire. So I joined the Discord early, and I was just like sitting there, dude. It was almost better than a YouTube video. I was just like, before it launched, I was just watching like their moderators telling everyone it's a real game, it's coming out. And you wait and see, and then people go scam before the game even released, just like just shrieking like this game's a scam, and then it released, and then it just fucking imploded. Everyone's like, "Bro, you guys are scammers!" All the Discord mods just like disappeared, and it started being the Wild West. And then I was in there, and I saw them just deleting the chats. They just go ping, 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 and then everything just got deleted, and you just can't type anymore. I was like, "Oh my
They
god!"
shut it down.
Man, I wish I had a
They just
chance
shut
to
it-
play this.
They just shut it
I was
down,
at the
yeah.
Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how
everybody at
long
the Game
it
Awards
live
was talking
for?
about it.
It was like 24 hours or something.
It's like 4 days. It was up
4
for 4 or
days?
5 days,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, 4 days, and then they announced that they're closing, knowing full well that they launched into early access to take people's money and knew that they'd have to close. And then that was it. And then Steam was like, "Oh, this is probably
Dang.
bad. We should get rid of this game."
You know what it
Disaster.
reminds me of is those events on like Netflix documentaries where they're doing this big like festival thing,
Oh, the
and then it
Fire
ends
Festival?
up
Fire
not
Island and
being
stuff.
like that, where it's like not the
Yo.
scope of what they envision at all,
Man, it's a
but they
disaster.
just kept building it up so much that they just couldn't stop the train once it was rolling. They were just like, well, fingers crossed no one calls us on it, and the whole
Yeah.
world is watching this game,
Yeah.
The whole world called them on it. Yeah.
Rip. Well,
accurate.
they were. I didn't look exactly into all the refunds and stuff, but they were, I believe, giving refunds and stuff like that. So it seems like hopefully you didn't get scammed and ripped
Is
off
it
in the
Steam
end.
giving out the refund though? Like,
No, I think
they
that
probably never
I,
ever got to these guys, right?
I would need to fact check it, but I thought they were like, we're issuing refunds and like we're just paying off our debts and going out of business seemingly.
Is that like what
Yeah.
Cyberpunk said they were doing that, and then like Sony and Microsoft were like, what?
Well, they never said they were going out of business. No,
PlayStation
they
will give you
offering
money,
refunds,
and
yes.
you're like, "What?
Hey man,
Who am I giving money to?"
Cyberpunk's awesome right now. Don't
Yeah,
even
they
bring
did a
it
good
up in the
job.
same conversation as this game.
Yeah.
This
On that note,
this is not a game.
it's
No,
probably a good time
crazy.
to mention the somewhat related news today that The Last of Us online game, which was most
Right.
likely a
Right.
survival live service game in the world of Last of Us, was officially canceled today. They said in short, read their statement, but they're basically saying, look, like, and probably with the advice of Bungie now, was like, if we want to do this right, we got to pull all resources. The entire studio would be focused on doing this. If we want to do it right, but our DNA is making these epic, single player games, and like we had to make a choice. So we're canceling Last of Us Online.
Really?
I'm
It's
surprised it took
unfortunate.
this
I was
long.
definitely looking forward to it, to be honest.
Did you
Wanted
guys
to
ever
try
play
it.
The Last of Us, the first Last of Us online mode?
The
I didn't.
multiplayer, you mean?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, like third person
Yeah, just a little bit.
multiplayer.
Yeah, it was real weird.
It was all right.
cool
I don't think it was
concept.
going to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like competitive PvP, right?
Yeah, but it had like this weird like mode where like you'd go into matches, and depending on how well you did, you'd have this like village that you'd like kind of support with your winnings and the gear
Oh, I
that
don't
you
remember that.
and you got. It was weird. It was
Huh.
kind of a neat theory. I didn't like the
yeah,
gameplay
Last of
for
Us
multiplayer. Though. It
multiplayer?
was just so slow and like
Yeah,
fidgety. Like you'd have to
I
craft
actually loved
stuff
it.
while you were in a
Yeah.
some people
PvP.
loved it. Yeah,
I
know,
loved
some
it.
people did love
It was my first YouTube videos was about Last of Us multiplayer before
Yeah.
Destiny because it
Oh,
just
wow.
came out before Destiny came out.
Wow.
people are
The worst
searching for
part
those
about
right
it
now.
was you could put these like landmines everywhere, and they were like invisible. You could not see them.
Yeah.
You could hide them in the
Yeah.
grass.
They
So,
would
like, you'd
clip
just be
through the
walking
floor.
around, and then boom, you're dead. You're like, this fucking sucks.
Man. But yeah, that being said, like I loved Last of Us 2's like combat feel.
Yeah, it was good.
Just incredible combat feel, and the crafting was really neat, and like I see the potential for whatever they probably were doing. I don't know if there was many leaked details, and there's probably still hope that we'll get to hear about it someday. But I was really looking forward to it, and all I had said is like, this is now happening across a number of AAA games, like Overwatch 2 PvE. I don't know, there's a similarity here of like, we want to do it, but like, it's going to take everything. And like, I still feel like because of marketing usually represents a massive budget for AAA games. And I mean, and inevitably, it's just a huge investment to release this AAA polished, finished project and product. Where I'm like, how do we get to the point with these AAA devs and publishers where they're willing to squeak out the door? Like, I mean, I was saying, call me crazy, but I'd pay $30 for a short demo of Last of Us 2 unfinished. Like, I know that's crazy and nobody else wants to do it, but that's how early access explodes sometimes. And maybe provides like the momentum and funding for this stuff. So I don't know if you guys feel that ever, but I feel like with AAAs especially, you rarely get like this early access vibe. It's like, we were going to do this really cool game. You're like, that sounds awesome. You're like, yeah, we canned it though.
Yeah,
Because
and then we
it's
laid
all or
off
nothing.
everybody who was working on it.
Yeah,
Does
that
tend
too.
to be all or nothing. Yeah.
I'd pay early access again. Like, how much let's just put it out there as a question. Let's say it was, really only, an hour of like gameplay, but if you wanted to keep replaying it and play the patch stuff, you might get in 5-10 hours, have a community. How much would you be willing to pay for that if it was Last of Us, like just sort of a closed early access type thing? Or open, you could buy it.
There's
Like,
so
would you
many
be willing to pay?
games that are done though that I could.
I know, but then like, yeah, no.
But it's The Last of Us.
I'm willing to
like
fund
the
it.
brand recognition of that alone, I feel like would up the cost for me. Like I would be like, oh, I'd pay like at least $25, like 20, like that range, to be able to play just a piece of something that was in that
support it.
realm. Yeah, exactly.
If
Even
all
if
you
it
guys
was
started
not that
playing it
good,
and said
let's
it was
say.
amazing, then maybe I'd
Yeah.
jump on, but it wouldn't be high on my list of ways to spend $20.
But see, that's interesting. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Lego's like, yeah, I'd pay $24.99. I'm like, I'd do $29.99, like just to like get a piece of
Yeah.
it. And there's a lot of early access games that I think we pay that $10 for that are like probably way less than whatever
Like
they
the
had
first year of
going. Even
Destiny.
hey, now, yeah, I mean, Destiny had a lot more going on than that. But I feel you on that. Yeah, similarly, like Destiny in its own way had a number of like, this part's not finished. I'm just grabbing spin metal. But you get the point. I feel like we're like it's way more complicated than that, because even if they start getting the money, like I say, then you need hundreds of million or 100 million in marketing, and
Right.
you know, that's not easy. You can say like, yeah, we got funding from the audience, and like let's say they got 100 million from funding early access product. But then where's the other, 50 mil for marketing or whatever coming from? But still, I think magical things have happened with early access. That's all I'm saying. So AAA devs, like, in other words, there's like games like Outriders that came out and other stuff too that I was like, like if you just like, Anthem is another one where, again, not
Right.
exact, but I'm like, man, like what you should have done is ahead of time released a part of this, and I would have happily paid that, whatever, that $30 up front, and then given you hopefully a little more like leeway to work on it before you released it, and got this stuff in shape so it was a better product in the end, and then maybe would actually live. Versus, like, we weren't able to really finish it, and we knew it was gonna flop.
That is really interesting, like thinking about things that way, like with AAA developers versus like, stuff like, I don't know, PUBG and it's like Inception, this completely like janky, game that turns into this hugely popular thing that would have never had the chance to if, it didn't have that chance to ramp up in that way and stay in like this pre-game state for so long.
Yeah. Rainbow Six Siege, I feel like was like that. For Honor was like that. Ubisoft, I feel like, had a bunch of these, right? It's like they released and they're kind of like, but they kept supporting it, and then over time it built like a really like devoted community and got to be a really great game.
Yeah, like probably a relevant one right now that we'll see what happens, because I think there's a parallel, is Suicide Squad killed the Justice
Right,
League. It did have, it had a closed, beta thing, but that was mostly for bug testing, and I don't know how much gameplay was in there exactly, but regardless, it's like I think that's the perfect candidate. Like they probably could have put together, I mean, it does take development, but like put something out that you could have paid a certain amount for towards, of course, the final product, but like hopefully it was like 8 months ago is what I'm saying, that we would have already been playing this piece of Justice League, and you'd have some people being like, and this is what they're afraid of. They're like, the marketing team's terrified that people are gonna be like, I don't want this, I don't like this. But what happens on the other side is like, ooh, this is where this really cool thing's at. And then they fix it. And then finally when it comes out, you have this explosion of like, I spent $70 and expected all this, but we're not going to work on it because it got negative feedback. Whereas you expect the negative feedback up front, you work on it together as a group. Again, I know it sounds, it makes it sound simple. When it's a AAA project, it's not. But I would just love to see that more. There's some really good early access stories.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3
Yeah,
was a big, good early
Baldur's
access
Gate
story.
3 was early access. Went into early access. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of it can be very difficult when you're making anything to have the feedback that you can give yourself, because you're so involved in it. It's very hard to see if something's not working or if something is working or how something could work. So yeah, early access can be really helpful for that. I mean, that's kind of why Bungie had that one job posting that Holtzman started with, which was just like, you come in and play the game. That's what you're doing. You're just coming in and you're playing the game and giving your thoughts based on someone who hasn't worked on it and just giving first impressions of it. So it can be very helpful. Very helpful.
There's another side to that conversation too about the cancellation of the Last of Us Live game, because Sony took in Bungie supposedly, like one of the reasons why was to work on live service games, and to see one of the big ones immediately that had a connection there go down is like, whoa, like, and it have all Bungie's like so many employees
Bungie.
laid off.
Yeah.
There's like all this stuff, like not even that it's related, but that, what is Bungie's position coming into Sony now? Like, what is Sony using them for in that way? I'm so curious.
Oh, man. No, they definitely, that was one of the big selling points, I've no doubt, for spending the billions of like someone with the data, number one.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Sony, I am now carving through all of the user behavior, revenue data, and talking to the experts behind the scenes of like what happens when you do X or Y. was huge for them. But then
Right.
having those experts, hopefully still on staff, that you say, yeah, so how are you approaching this, Naughty Dog? I mean, 100% that's what happened. And I'm sure Bungie was there, not like they were the final decider, but I'm
Right.
sure they were like let's have a real talk of how this is going to go based on what we've done. And I think they probably needed even here where they're like, somebody on their Naughty Dog team, I wouldn't be surprised, was like, I told you. Like, we need way more resources to do this. And people are like, okay, if Bungie says, I wouldn't doubt it.
Live service is kind of rough, guys. We realized, and don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
That's a good point, friend. I didn't think about that. You know, I was thinking more about the proactive yes to projects that they're saying and helping out with, but I didn't think about the like statistical no, like coming from all the information that Bungie's bringing of like, this is what it takes. And then Sony saying no, or Naughty Dog saying no to this live service thing. And it could actually save them a lot of money in the long run by not following through with this thing with limited resources that was just gonna end up sucking a ton of financial stuff if it didn't work out, you know? So
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that flip side of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's a combination of both, but yeah, I mean, it makes you think like Sony had talked about them having a certain number. I forget if it was like 10 live service games they wanted to get out. Or,
There was a
Right.
bunch. I think the
And then
rumor is
half
has
half
been-
of them are canceled.
yeah, or delayed. And then
Yeah.
there you go. Like I
Well,
think it's
because,
this combination.
It was Jim Ryan, right, who was all about that. So when he left, people were like, live service kind of sucks. I don't know if we want to make that many live service games. It's really hard to do a good live service game.
You know, that kind of connects, I feel like, too, to the news. We didn't talk about this last week because we were doing the Game Awards, but the news was all over about Bungie being like kind of on the ropes at Sony. Like, hey,
Right.
you guys need to make a bunch of money real quick. Otherwise, you know, we're going to take over your board and you're not going to be so autonomous anymore.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
scary.
That was the news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's part of the, obviously we don't know for sure, but it's part of the contract of if they dip to a certain revenue income, that they can just kick everyone off the board and essentially take over Bungie. And we saw a lot of people being like, well, that might be good because maybe Sony could do it better. And I'm like, well, one, not many people have been able to do a successful live service. So you
Yeah.
kind of,
One could say
Two-
nobody's been able to do a successful live service.
two, Sony could just be like, we're going to dissolve Bungie and we're taking all this talent and putting it into our other studios.
Or we're just going to like give this IP to a second studio who's just going to maintain it for the next few years until everybody moves on to the next thing.
Yeah, anything could happen.
Yeah, it's really
I know.
bizarre. It's like, you know, like such a huge transaction just a year and a half ago. And now like you start hearing like, oh, well, they're hitting like 45% of their revenue target. Like they're in danger of being taken over. Like the autonomy is gone. And then you hear about the morale at the studio itself is at an all-time low. Like not only were there layoffs, but now people want to get out of there. So it's really scary stuff as like a Destiny fan, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I pause on some of that stuff only because, yeah, I'm like, it all piled up. Like, you had the buyout, you have these things you're talking about. And then, yeah, like, I mean, I guess part of what I'm thinking about is I think Bungie probably saw this as potentially, in other words, to get bought, your revenue targets are probably pretty positive, right? Oh, we're going to do really good next year, right? You're trying to get bought. You're going to give the most optimistic outlook.
Yeah.
So meaning, you know, I think there's some of that going on and they knew some of the risks if things didn't go their way. But then, yeah, I think they were probably surprised after Lightfall with some of the engagement. But I just would remind, I'm like, everyone looks up to Destiny 2 from a development standpoint of like, I mean, it really is. And that's why they got bought for over
They do,
$3 billion.
yeah.
Like, it's not like, I mean, I'm not a financial expert on the exacts, but like really, it's not like they had a 10% layoff, it looks like, according to reports, which is a ton, and that sucks. But I mean, that's what you're looking at from a correction as they prepare for final shape, and there's a lot of math going on there to see if it gets worse or better. But meaning it doesn't implode overnight is the only thing I would put out there. I don't see, like, I mean, they're putting all effort into the final shape as like, it feels like a magnum opus, and I don't want to set sights that high. But what I mean by that is like just kind of from the outside, it feels like they are really, from a craft side, they really do want the final shape to be incredible.
It does, yeah.
And I'm feeling that this season. You know, I don't know if we want to jump to that, but I just feel like, yeah, they're like, yeah, seasons aren't going to change a lot. This season, by the way, surprisingly like thin outside of story. And it feels like a ton of people are just focused on the final shape. And there's a delay on top of that. So yeah, I think there's a lot riding on the expansion itself. Whatever comes after, I don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea what's after. Like we know that they're episodes and they're going to be different to seasons, but I think that's all we really know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, their new episodic format. But
Yeah.
I mean, the gameplay change up and the quality's got to be there though. So, but yeah, I don't know if you guys want to jump to that. Like,
Yeah, we can do
Let's
that.
do it.
I'm down for that.
I've been keeping up with this season. Let me just mark this down. I've been keeping up with this season, and I just jumped in last night. But I have been surprised to be curious from anyone else that's played. But it's like they really corrected on the story side over the last few years. I'm like, man, there's just like a lot of story. It's a lot of story. We're getting voiceover, you know, and we're even sometimes getting some small cutscenes. But from a gameplay side, like, holy cow, I'm kind of surprised that this season is like, here's the event, and you're going to keep going back to that event. And then you're going to go to an old lost sector. You're going to go to the blind well. You're going to go to, this week, you go to the astral plane for like a really old Forsaken mission, which I didn't mind going back to actually as much as like the blind well. I did not enjoy it. But nonetheless, from a gameplay side, we just keep going back to the coil and or the Riven thing, which is all the same basically. I'm like, I can't go through the beginning to this room anymore. So I feel what I already said was I feel like they pulled a lot of resources for the final shape and are like, they're just, this season I predicted wrongly on some previous episodes where I was like, oh man, this is the last season before the final shape. From a gameplay side, I'm not feeling that so much. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the activity, and I think the activity's been slowly dialed in to, I think, what people actually really enjoy for a seasonal activity. But I just think it's taken so long to get there. People are kind of over it already. And that's
Right.
I think just fatigue with the game itself. But if you took this activity roguelite aspect, like, it's kind of fits Destiny perfectly. And I think the activity is good. I think it's just general fatigue with the franchise. It's probably colors the perception of it. And then story-wise is also like all the things we've kind of wanted, like different ways of engaging the player with like in-game dialogue and voiceover and then cutscenes and this, that, no. But it is kind of, I agree, I'm kind of like, fuck me. All right, now I go talk to Riven. Okay, now I go talk to Mara. Okay, now I go talk to Radio. Okay, now I go read the thing. Okay, now, and it's like, I kind of wanted it. I advocated for that. Like, I don't want to just be doing gameplay, but then it also feels a little bit repetitive now with the storytelling. Even though, I mean, this week was a bit of a filler, but that's kind of expected too. Once again, I don't know how much that's just fatigued of me of the story. Like, oh man, Osiris is getting so much hate at the moment, and it's not his fault that he has to bang on about the Veil for 6 months after Livefall and still trying to work out the Veil and the Veil this and the Veil that, and he's like giving his massive monologues like, I don't give a fuck about
He's
the Veil
doing his
anymore.
best.
He's doing his best. He's doing
So
his goddamn
actually,
best.
Wait, Mike. Can you explain then? I had thought last
Oh,
week
no.
where and I missed last week's episode, but I actually felt like from the outside and a dummy when it comes to the story, that I was like, whoa, last week he's really talking about the Veil and some big stuff that they just like shove in there that I was like, wow, it seems like some pretty big story beats happening. And you're like, you're not feeling that?
No, if you've kind of been paying attention throughout the whole thing, that they are saying the same thing in different ways, like each week.
So
like
you didn't feel like a
there's been
reveal last week?
No, there's no like big reveal. Like, all the things are just kind of reinforcing what we already know about the Veil and what he's trying to do with it, and what the Veil is. And that's the kind of weird thing about the Veil. It was never one just really aha moment that explained to the player what was going on and what it was. It was just a slow build up of like drip fed information that you kind of piece together to understand it. And that's why I never really got that.
But maybe
Like, not even-
that's why last week for me, from the outside of someone who wasn't able to
Yeah, it could have
keep
been,
up.
yeah.
For me, it was like he kind of just more plainly explained it in a couple sentences.
Yeah.
The one
yeah.
last week, I was like, oh, okay, this is like telling people really in more clear terms.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. And that's obviously the benefit of telling people the same thing in different ways over many weeks.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
like getting
interesting
everyone on the same page for what's coming up. I've found it extremely repetitive and fatiguing.
So you already knew all of it.
Yeah.
So related to that,
Fixed.
though, I wanted to also ask, because I don't understand. I'm like, so if I've already seen the Final Shape trailer and know what's coming, and now he's explaining, like, we're trying to get in there, Guardian. So if I know that I'm going there in June of 2024 already, what's at stake this season? I feel like I'm missing something. Like, what is at stake since I already know I'm going? I know whether or not Riven gets me in, somebody's going to get me in. Like, what am I missing that's at stake?
I guess it's the monkey paw of, like, what do we have to give up to
Like,
chase the witness? Right, like,
who do they kill?
are we gonna accidentally summon a army of Ahamkara that's gonna just kind of, are we just doing the devil better? Like, is that good for society to have more dragon eggs? Like, but I don't think we're gonna get that though. That's the weird thing. Like, I think they're just gonna sidestep that whole Ahamkara.
You don't think they're gonna like release? Because I feel like that would be a good thing to like put off for later, is like release all this Ahamkara, but like you can't do anything about it right now. We got to go deal with the Final Shape in a different season. We're gonna come back.
It's pretty classic for Bungie to like put the egg somewhere and like just leave that in case we need it for later. We could have like a dragon DLC and that would be cool. Which is kind of what they did this season, which everyone loved. I was like, you got the warlords, you got the castles, you like this dragon, you got the Witcher DLC. Like, it's a good thing.
Yeah, maybe that's where I'm more numb to it. Because for me, I'm like, some people like in chat, I can say, like, oh man, that's like a big thing at stake, the monkey paw, or like who's gonna get screwed? And I'm sort of like, well, so what? I mean, somebody always kind of gets screwed. Like, they might kill Crow, right? I'm like, whatever. Like, it's.
Ooh, I
don't know why that. I guess I don't know. I get it's weird. I guess the Cade stuff felt really big, but at this point in the story, I'm like, yeah. It's really whatever's happening in the Final Shape feels way bigger than all of this to me.
I agree with that point, because I was thinking about this season. I was like, this doesn't feel like the season before the final big,
right?
The end of the light verse. It feels like a Destiny season, and of course it does. But like, it doesn't feel like it has any more weight than previous seasons have, or it doesn't feel like there's much more build up than another season has had. And we've had similar things happen before where we know what's happening in the expansion. Like, we know Savathun's coming back. We know that she has to come out of the chrysalis, but like, they've got to try to build that excitement to get you to the end of the book, even though you already know the ending.
You know what could be happening there is they might not want to give any story beats away while not a big population of like Destiny fan base is heavily involved. Like, because when you start Final Shape and all these people come back, you want to hit the story beats then, like right away. Like, just like, not, hey, here's what you missed. It's like, no, hey, here, let's play it. This is like, you can jump right back in as if you didn't miss anything. And like, you still got to make this season exciting still. And I feel like there will be something big at the end. But what for me, Fran, what I feel is that I do think the Ahamkara stuff is exciting, but I haven't played the last 2 weeks of story. I'm like, my mind is way more on the weapons and all the new perks and stuff now that I'm grinding for. And that really interests me. But normally I am involved in the story too. And it's not that I don't care about it. Like, those are really big stakes. It's just that I know that nothing is going to happen. Like, I don't see any big YouTube videos coming out. Nothing is incentivizing me to play that week. I just know that something big is happening at the end, and there's no urgency. Like, I know we got to gather all these eggs, so there's no pressing thing that keeps me coming back. So it is a big thing, but I know it's not urgent, and so it doesn't keep me invested week to week right now.
Right. Yeah, and I want to be clear. I don't want to take away from. I honestly think the story team is like they've been doing such a good job overall. Like I'm not
Yeah.
one to
Yeah,
micro
I
critique
agree.
because, but like we've just gotten used to like, oh, they're always telling story now. Like that is what the season has become for me, and like I don't want to take away from that. It was more like as I look to Final Shape, the stakes are so high there that whatever's happening now, I'm like, oh, you know, this is cool. Where before, I guess I felt like some of the inner season stuff was more, you know, gravity. But yeah, we're only halfway through this season or so, or not even. So it's still remains to be seen. But from a gameplay side, that was my main thing that I was focused on. I'm always there. Honestly, I don't play the seasons for story. I play for gameplay. And as I look back on other seasons, there's a lot of like even for whatever reason, Season of Plunder or whatever the treasure, you know, pirate one, just felt like there was more variety, more dynamic things moving you around. And I always am looking from season to season about how that gameplay loop feels. And this one in particular was just sort of like, well, we got the coil and we got the story. That's it. And for whatever reason, it feels more redundant than other seasons. More
I can understand
Black-
that for sure.
Yeah. It is kind of like they placed all their bets on the coil, and fortunately a lot of people really do like that activity. Like it feels
It is a good
different
activity,
than
yeah.
I really like it
They
too.
did
I'm
good with
excited
it.
to go back in for a lot of the story stuff later. Now that I'm still not done grinding the dawning. There's so much to do with that if you
Oh my
actually
God.
want good stuff. But yeah, I do think the coil's really fun.
Yeah, I do think it's fun. It is, you know, I want to be clear on what I'm talking about is like the way they start you with a story and then put you in a gameplay event and then they put you in this other different type of gameplay event. I'm not talking about like Season of Plunder as like oh, that was my favorite, because it's not. I was a big fan of Season of the Splicer. Like I felt like this running the third person ball through the gauntlet thing was dope, and Season of Arrivals was one of the first where we were rooted in more of a story mission, and that's almost what we're doing now. But anyway, what I'm just talking about is the variety of going between stuff, and it all, other than the coil, it's like we're kind of just going back to Forsaken content, and maybe that's what it is just
I
not
do
enough
I do
variety.
get it for sure, right? Because like the story mission is the coil, but
Yeah.
you know, not the coil. And then you've got the coil, and then you go back to story places that you've been before. So it's hard because obviously I've always said that I want Bungie to reuse more things because they make so much stuff. Imagine if they just reused like a good portion of it, how much more interesting they could make the spaces, or how much more time they could put into something else. But it is hard when it's like, I remember this room. This is like almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds me a bit of with what you're talking about and like how they send you from place to place and do this, do that. It reminds me a little bit of like how Black Armory, if y'all remember that DLC, like you had to go back to the tower so many times
You did,
before
yeah.
you could actually complete one thing. And it kind of feels like that narratively now. It's like, okay, go here, talk to this console.
Yeah.
Now go do this. Now, so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's that too. Is things we're used to that you know it's going to happen. Like, and we've all now joked about it on this individual podcast. Of like I went to talk to Riven, and then I went to the radio, and not the radio, but then the hologram, and Riven was there. It was like things are you're literally just talking to somebody, and then it's like go to the hologram, and then you do, and it's the same person, and you're like, oh man, like this is just weird. And that's been going on for a while now. They only have so many tools. But
It's
yeah,
funny
it was
because I actually used to like doing the story all in one, but now doing it all in one is so exhausting because it is just like you do a little bit of gameplay and then you stand there and listen to something for a bit, and then you go there and stand there and listen to something for a bit, and it's that for hours. And that's yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah, I like to play the game, and that's a big part of it. And yeah, somebody in chat here, Tofu Bake, I think it was bringing up the Shattered Realm. That was another one I was thinking about. That was, granted, it was unique, but again, just the loop at that time. It was Season of the Lost, I think. So you were getting upgrades that then you could like actually. It was almost Metroid-like, where you would open up new areas based on sort of like an ability that you gained, and there was just more. It was more dynamic. This is literally just the coil's cool. It's pretty much just the coil this season. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You can go back
is
and
the
play
coil,
some Lost
yeah.
Sector, but that's just the coil and some story stuff so far. And you know, thank goodness there's the dungeon add-on, which is not part of the season, but the dungeon's dope. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, we never got to talk about the dungeon. I did enjoy the
Oh,
dungeon.
really?
because the Game Awards happened.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious.
You and
y'all's
Mylan
take on it.
crushed it.
It was good. I don't think I have anything like negative to say really about the dungeon.
Me neither.
I think I enjoyed the theme. I enjoyed the bosses. It felt pretty balanced. It felt like they had a good amount of health, but not too much like the previous one. I think maybe the mechanic with the very final mechanic of having to punch to get that debuff back was a bit hard to follow. Even once you knew what you were looking for, maybe that was a little bit like difficult to execute. But then again, it was my first time playing, and I'm sure I'll pick
I
up
had
on
trouble too. I kept throwing smoke because I think it was when somebody had already punched it that maybe I still don't understand it. But if somebody uses up and transfers, can you
Yeah.
punch the same one?
No, it has to be a
'Cause-
different one.
And I thought that, but do they look different?
very
if-
slightly. I think it
very
was like
slightly,
taken,
yes.
like
That's
one's
probably-
taken and one's like kind of not taken or something.
That's
a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I only saw it once. I think if I'm really critical, it may be a bit disappointing. It wasn't an Iron Lord that we knew about. I thought that was a missed opportunity not to make it Shaxx, not to make it Shaxx's castle
Shaxx's castle, yeah.
and have a bit of like tie in there and to make it like some because I'm pretty sure it's like some unknown Iron Lord, right? Like I think that's maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there. I honestly I haven't even looked into the lore, so you have to tell me about it. I haven't.
No, wow.
I don't
I've
know
been
much
playing other games.
yet. Yes, I don't know.
I think it's
Soon.
all delivered. Chat could correct me. I think it's all delivered via audio logs.
The bones.
The bones that Kara's speaking to you. So, yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it from a
Overall,
gameplay
though, good.
perspective. Yeah,
I
like
enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
The vibe. I don't know about that prison puzzle exactly, but
Oh man, really? Oh, that was so cool. I thought that the solo experience, because I love going into a dungeon solo blind, and I didn't have the time to do it right away, so I just kind of jumped in that night later, and just going through the first boss. I like that the difficulty wasn't I don't know. A lot of times with a dungeon, it hits you with one boss that is solo as a not crazy solo player is okay, I'm held up here at the beginning and I can't progress any further. And it kind of escalated in difficulty and complexity as it went in a really good pace to where as a solo player who doesn't do a ton of PvE stuff, I could kind of take my time, learn the mechanics, go through the first boss, the prison, all the jumping puzzle stuff until the second boss, and then eventually a day or two later I figured out how to do that and got through that. And so I made it to the final encounter all the way solo blind, and as someone who's mainly a PvP player, that was a ton of fun and just exploring everything and learning everything on the fly. I thought it was one of the better dungeons for being able to do that as a first run through without getting held up somewhere. Is just okay, I need people to help me with this because I don't know what's going on. You could kind of make your way through it if you really stuck with it, which was a great experience.
nice. Yeah, the pace is really good. I think that's why I like it, and it's just it is very boss focused, and it feels, I don't know why it feels old school in some ways. It just feels like classic ideals of Destiny, and it just felt and looked great.
And new weapon stuff too, having the freaking rocket sidearm was so, and it works perfectly for the encounters too, because the distance that the rocket goes is infinite wherever you shoot it, and so you could take out the eyes super easily with the rocket.
I haven't even seen that yet.
Oh, dude, Mylan, it's so
Mylan
cool.
got the exotic first try, so
got the exotic.
that's what he has.
Nice.
Forgot about that. Get out of here.
If you want to get exotics in Destiny, don't play. There's
It
an
really is true,
algorithm
though.
I've
It's
tried
true.
that says give them the drops so they get back, hook them back in, give them the winning pokey machine, cha-ching, cha-ching. Come back tomorrow. See you then.
Yeah, you're not
True,
wrong.
true.
It is true. I did get the exotic sidearm on Tuesday. So
Oh, nice.
I got it my
GGs.
seventh run.
Oh, nice. So somewhat related to this, Fireteam Finder.
yeah.
I
Fireteam
got
Finder's here. Yeah.
to try, and finally, I've been wanting something like this for half a decade, and obviously know it's hard to build. But glad that it's fully in beta. They got the tag on it, but I think they talk about in today's update that's going to be going away eventually. Some of this is in the update, so I might be jumping ahead here, but I did want to know, because it was for the dungeon, I wanted to test Fireteam Finder, so I used it, grabbed from D2 checkpoints, I grabbed the final checkpoint, and then set it up, and was able to get a random team, and like, you know, definitely disorganized at first, no comms, but we all realized that and jumped off the map, and then it was like, I think the second run of like just smooth, and got it done. And that's the type of content I love in Destiny. I love the dungeon, I love PvE content, but there's been so much friction and difficulty of even streaming live, asking, hey, does anybody want to jump in? Do you have the end checkpoint? Do you want to help? I wanted to do a run, in other words, on Monday before it reset to try to get the exotic.
Right.
So I got it done relatively frictionless in the beta. I'd have a lot to say about the Fireteam Finder itself, but definitely just so needed. And I think it's one of the biggest things happening in Destiny that you may or may not realize. And like, it's so important to the game. Because again, like if I just another example, I've never gotten the Eyes of Tomorrow from Deedstone Crypt. That'll probably be next on my list at some point. See if I can just like jump in and go for a run without it being like all this friction of like, let me get on Discords, let me ask, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To put that stuff in the
For
game
sure.
is extremely exciting to me. And I met a new friend, like somebody from France, Papo, who it was
Aw.
amazing. Yeah, like they
That's
were
cool.
super helpful. Oh, and this is the best end of the story. We did the final checkpoint. Papo had massive deeps, had all their stuff stacked, and interesting. Another side discussion that I think would be cool later is I'm very not meta. I'm like, this is just fun. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
If we die, I'll figure it out. And Papo was like bringing all the deeps, and it made me feel like, oh, you know what? Maybe I do want to have a loadout where I don't embarrass myself, just in
It does
case.
do that, doesn't it? You're like,
Yeah.
I kind of do want to do a little bit of meta stuff, do some big damage, see the big number.
I think it's going to be, really nice side effect of Fireteam Finder there. But anyway, end of this story is that after we went for the run and I didn't get the exotic like Mylan, Papo came to my stream, but stayed in my party actually, because it doesn't kick you out of your party, which is a really nice effect of the way that it works. And I set up what did I do? Oh, I said, well, let me just start the dungeon over. Why not? And see, let's use the matchmaking again. And then I found out that Papo had never even played the dungeon. They must have watched something, but they were like, I'm blind. They're like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up playing like almost all the dungeon again.
Nice.
So anyway, that's such
awesome.
a great, it's
Very
such a great
cool.
sign for what Fireteam Finder is going to be.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad someone had used it, see what it's like, because I have not. And I mean, it looks great from the interface that I saw. I'm sure you have some points that
I
could be
I think
better.
we've got so much that we've talked about and so much to talk about. We should save it for later
Yeah.
till more people use it. But
Yeah.
give people time till the end of the year, maybe, if you have time to check it out and talk about it soon.
I tried to use it just to.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I tried to use it just
There you-
to see if I could do the dawning essence farm, where it's like you go into the one campaign mission and just do that ending over and over again. Fallout has a video on it, and I was like, is there a way for me to Fireteam find a glitch for the game? I was like, no. I mean, you could like maybe start one for the tower or something, but not really.
Yeah. So pro tip for everybody out there listening that hasn't tried it, just actually click on any activity and press find. The way that works isn't like it looks. In other words, you don't need to go to the activity you want and then press find. It's just hidden behind general matchmaking. So in other words, click on find and then it pulls up really what's like a director of all activities. And then you can choose campaign and this, and obviously everything's not in there, but just try something. It's got tags. And again, there's going to be a lot of little things that we'll have feedback on that need work, but it is surprising. There's an amazing amount of detail. And when you look at it compared to other games, I mean, this is where, again, I think Bungie's showing its AAA nature, its experience, and I really think it's going to be influential as it starts to really roll out. And Bungie put it in their update today. In short, they said, here are the top 3 activities we've seen groups form up with via the Fireteam Finder. Dungeons were 43%, raids were 26%, free roam was actually 21%. Maybe they were trying to find those glitches. Like,
Maybe.
Yeah. My
Maybe.
people.
yeah.
My people need me.
So it's hidden. Like, I'm curious to see where it goes. So
I feel like Dungeons has become like Bungie's best content, to be honest.
Dungeons are
most-
so
It's
good.
so good. Yeah.
Most like accessible end game. You know, it's like if you get a good loot, you get good weapons, you get cool armor, you get a good aesthetic. It's like, you know, it's a quick raid basically. I think it's like kind of the best content.
it's almost like a raid lair.
Mini raid.
Like a mini raid.
Mhm.
When are they going to bring the raid lairs back? You know,
I don't know. I
it's
like
only
those.
a matter of
Mm.
time.
Those shorter
Yeah,
raids.
dungeons kind of are those, I guess. You're right. It's just with
They
more
kind of
bosses.
are, yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody play the
Uh,
Dawning at all? Anybody play any Dawning
Nah.
stuff?
Not much
I'm be honest.
at all.
Yeah.
I
Soon
saw
as-
people say
No.
it sucks, and that's about it.
I just don't want to bake cookies
I
and
saw that
stuff right
comment
now.
5 years ago,
I've
and I haven't gone back
heard-
since.
Yeah, it's basically the same. But I mean,
I've heard about the
weapons-wise,
fusion. I've
very
heard.
happy. Very happy. It's might be the best fusion rifle like in the game.
Glacial
right now,
Chasm
I think.
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, they updated the perk pool. It's got every PvE, like as an average, not like the best at everything, but like for PvE and PvP, if you wanted one that could do everything, like it has the control burst, overflow, reservoir burst, like all the PvE stuff, and then it's also got they added successful warm up for PvP, so it can shoot like as fast as a rapid almost, but it's a high impact. I got the role I wanted. Jumped in the first game of PvP and got a 5-piece like immediately, and I was like, "What is
Wow.
this gun? Like, this is ridiculous." So yeah, I high recommend. And also, there's a glaive that has the beacon rounds. That's the auto tracking stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That
I saw
is that
beacon rounds on it.
that sidearm got, and I just got the role I wanted, which was I'm planning to do a one-shot glaive with the tracking rounds. I'm gonna try to get it rolling. We'll see.
Oh, I
But
love glaives actually. Wait, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's one of the high impact ones, like Judgment of Kel'Garath is that solar
Yeah.
one that hits real hard.
Yep.
It's like that.
I love glaives. That's interesting because I didn't really want to play the Dawning, and now I'm kind of like, well, when the loot is unique enough in that, because I do feel like there's just like so many good weapons now,
Right.
and I have trouble sorting through it all, obviously.
Totally.
But that one might get me in.
Yeah, I think there's some
Yeah.
interesting stuff there with the way that they refresh the perk pool every year. That's the one thing that draws me back. Like if it was the same weapons, it was the exact same thing, I'd be like, whatever, like I'm out, you know. But
Right.
refreshing the perk pool, I'm like, oh, what can it do now? Like I don't care if it looks the same if it does something different, personally. But yeah, there's some cool stuff there. I will say, if you are going to grind the event, absolutely for sure, don't forget to put on the Dawning ship. The Starfarer, you can pull it from collections if you don't have
Yep.
it. Eva sells it, and it will generate Dawning Spirit, which is like what you use to buy all the upgrades and stuff, just like as you're playing. So for sure, equip that. 2, Masterworker Oven, which if you've done it before, you can just do it, just inspect it and just do it, and you have to do it on every character. So if you switch characters, do it on that character too. And then there was a third thing. Oh, do the upgrades for the perk pools. You can do like. There's one for the first column and one for the second column. And if you upgrade those, then every time you get a weapon, it has a chance to get like double perks both times.
Oh, dang, yeah.
So
there you go.
definitely do that because now I'm farming now that I have those upgrades.
Good
Nice.
tips.
Yeah.
Good tips.
Good tips.
But yeah, as an event, a little boring. Like it's kind of just like baking cookies, but I'm kind of power per houring it though, Fran, because because every time I bake a cookie, then I just go and get the bounties from Eva at the same time, and then I look which ones. If it's not the ones I want, I just delete them, and then I get them again, and then bake the cookie, do the bounty. Like it's like efficiency, you know.
Nice.
Power per hour mentioned.
Love that.
Cookie per hour.
Branding
That's
still,
what-
yeah, it's
cookie
cookies
per
per,
hour.
yeah. Baking per hour, maybe. I don't know. That's awesome.
I had something kind of weird, Destiny related, but not exactly Destiny happened
Okay.
today. I was sitting there eating lunch and watching videos about cops getting arrested for being corrupt. Good time. And
Naturally.
Christopher Barrett hit me on the DMs on Twitter,
Oh,
who's the
sure.
game director
I
over
saw.
at Bungie.
him put out a tweet that
Yeah,
I think might be
That's what
related
that
to
was.
Yeah, so he
What you're about to
is
say.
helping out on a game, not Destiny game, called Vengeance Hunters, which is a
Okay.
very strange game because it's a brand new game being made for the Neo Geo.
Vengeance Hunters.
Ah.
Oh, really?
Fact.
Wow.
Yeah, they are going to actually release the game on new Neo Geo cartridges.
Wow.
I don't
Okay.
know the fucking words you're saying. I
You don't know what a
understand
Neo
what's going
Geo
on.
is?
No.
Okay, so the game's also going to come out on the PS4,
Okay.
PS5, Nintendo Switch, like all the normal stuff too. But it's kind of fun that this game is being built for the Neo Geo in 2023. It's going to come out next year in 2024, and it's like a beat 'em up. It's like a Ninja Turtles, Streets of Rage, Final Fight style beat 'em up
Nice.
with really cool graphics. They don't have a demo or anything out yet, so they do have like a video of it being played, and man, the graphics look really nice. The gameplay looks like it'll be a lot of fun. So I don't know, sort of Destiny related, tangentially.
Yeah, Destiny related.
But I'm sure me and Jay will talk about this way more on Retro Slot. But I just wanted to bring it up because
I still don't know what a
Nice.
Neo Geo is.
All
you
right.
don't know what a Neo Geo is.
No, you fucking asked me that before. I said no, and then you just kept telling the story.
How do I mute somebody on this? It's an old game console. It was also an arcade cabinet. It was an arcade cabinet that you could also buy as a game console. It was in the 90s. It was like $600, but it competed with like the
Oh.
Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like arcade hardware.
And wait, they're making it for the Neo Geo.
They're
Mhm.
making this game it'll run natively on a Neo Geo.
Which is very
And
cool.
can you still get a Neo Geo?
No, but they're also going to release it for the Switch, the PS4, PS5, Steam,
Right.
all that
Ah,
stuff.
okay.
But like the target.
That's cool that they're doing
for
that.
development. Yeah,
That is
man.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you want a cartridge,
like
it's going to
that.
cost you like $450. So pre-order now. I'll probably wait for the Switch
Retro
version
games are
myself.
expensive, man. Retro
Yeah.
gaming is expensive.
Yeah, I don't know what it takes to make a new Neo Geo cartridge in 2023, but I'm guessing it's not off-the-shelf parts anymore, right? It's like you can't call up SNK and be
Right.
like, "Hey, we'd like to order a run of."
Yeah, I
Dozens
can't
of
imagine
these.
there'll be some factory somewhere printing
Yeah,
Neo Geo cartridges.
Huh. Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
like
awesome.
Maybe just an old stock.
it's cool though.
I
thought it was
love
cool.
that. I think that's great.
Yeah, look up the trailer though. It's pretty fun looking. Vengeance Hunters. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
fun looking. It comes out next year. Twitter questions?
I think it may be time.
Might be time.
I think so.
I'm
Yeah.
not ready.
okay.
I don't have it up yet. Okay, here we go. Zachary Richin says, "What are you secretly hoping to get for Christmas? A Ferrari, a Taco Bell gift card, 15 pounds of crawfish, Tefty coming back for Christmas as a DJ Santa?"
That's my
Yes.
dream right there.
I
Same.
mean, that sounds great.
That's
I
it.
really like
Nailed it.
Ferraris.
I want Teft to be dressed up like Santa in a Ferrari, pull up, and he's just got
Ooh.
gallons of, shrimp in the back seat.
Yeah.
He's got whatever the
Yeah,
other
Got
thing
a
was
bucket
in
of
there.
Taco Bell. That's how
Taco
it goes.
Bell,
Right?
yeah.
Bucket like KFC.
All the above.
Ooh, a bucket.
Bucket
Definitely
like
putting
KFC.
Taco Bell gift cards on my Christmas list.
There's
now.
got to be a
And-
bucket of the Mountain Dew Baja Blast,
Oh,
right?
I mean, I
Definitely.
think the large size is a bucket.
You're not entirely wrong.
Here's a bucket and a straw. Paper though, because we care about the environment.
Yes.
Of course.
Definitely.
Hugo Rune says, "How many owls would you have to see in a single day to know that something was definitely wrong?"
Owls?
Owls.
Like Harry Potter. Like how many owls?
Mm,
Yeah.
If there were two like identical ones, like back to back, like
Oh,
the
like a
Matrix
glitch in the
glitch,
Matrix.
then I would
Yeah.
be concerned. Yeah.
Okay. Identical owls. Yeah, that's a good one.
Hmm.
I don't think
I
you
mean,
see
I don't
owls
know that I
together
can
very
tell
often.
owls apart though. That's the thing. Like two owls that look totally different. Kind of. I don't know what owls do. Do they hop or what do they do? They fly, I guess. I wouldn't know.
They probably do both.
Yeah, sure they do.
Yeah.
Mostly hop around for a while and then little energy reserve for
Aren't
flying.
they
'cause
normally
they're big.
nocturnal?
Yeah. I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah. I think
So
it
if you
only
saw
take
'em during
one
the
to
day-
really. Yeah. It only take one to freak me out if it did the head spin thing where like it's like looking the other way and it just completely 180s on you. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like the Exorcist.
I'm
just
out.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty freaky.
yeah.
I didn't
So
know
not
we
many,
became
it
so
turns
worried
out.
about
Not many
owls
owls.
as a society. This is new to me.
Did you ever watch the Alien movie? What was the with the owl? Oh, there's some horror movie
Really?
that's an alien abduction movie. I can't remember the actress.
Clearly, I
that's
haven't
in it.
seen it. Somebody in
It's-
chat's gonna know in a moment.
It's an
Yeah.
older one. Someone in chat has got to know it. It was on Netflix for a little while.
Alien invasion movie.
No. Give me a second.
The
I'm
Thing?
gonna
The
come
Thing?
back to it. No, not the thing.
The Thing is
it's
an
like
incredible-
a very like small scale movie about alien abduction, but it was like freaky at the time because it felt like real almost.
Mhm.
Blandon McBlanderson says, if you had to suggest a video game to chair of the Federal Reserve Jerome Powell for him to play to blow off steam,
What
what
now?
game would you suggest?
Who
Same
with what?
reaction as Watts. Like, what is Colin Powell doing?
Who am I
What?
wedding
What?
now?
The what? Can you say that slower? Slower.
I think, Blandy, you have sent us a question that is above our head.
Not
slower.
smart enough.
A little slower. If
Okay,
you
a little
had
slower,
to
yes,
suggest a video game to the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell,
Uh-oh.
for him to play to
Oh.
blow off steam, what game would you suggest?
Asset Flipper 2. What's the House Flipper game?
House flipper?
Weed shop.
House Flipper.
Weed shop would be pretty
Think
good.
Jerome would be
Yeah.
very good at weed shop.
Yeah, yeah. Those are
Yeah,
good
weed
suggestions.
shop could be a winner. It's pretty good.
Basil says, what collab would you like to see come to Destiny? I would love a Monster Hunter crossover. Pendants for weapons would be sick. Love y'all.
Yes,
Don't give me any ideas. Those things would be
You
Correct.
had
$3
lots
and
of Monster Hunter.
correct. You won.
I feel like we get this question at every other show, by the way. So we should.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a good one, though.
Have an answer ready to go.
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
like
I
to
don't
see
have one.
books. I'd like to see books extending the lore of Destiny, kind of like what we got for Halo back in the day, or a series. You know,
It's
like
not a crossover.
What do
it's
you mean
just
it's not a
new
crossover? It's a
medium.
crossover between media.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Have you heard of the anthology?
Yeah. There are books. Maybe Mylon knows something.
that's
I think he
about
just
means
the
a
same
fiction
shit that's
book
in the
and not
game
just
written on
not a
paper.
fact book.
True.
That's fact books right there.
Oh, you want like
I
you want like a
original stories
Zavala
of the
romance
Destiny.
novel.
Yeah, I do. I didn't know
Yeah.
I wanted that until you said
Yeah.
it. Now I damn well do.
That would be pretty good,
Yeah.
Guardian. It's just him and Varix
I'm in.
on wild adventures.
Sounds great.
Artistic nudity. In that.
Artistic.
Artistic
You bring it full
nudity.
circle, people.
Artistic Elixni nudity.
Yeah.
What do they look like naked, Miley?
I don't know, but I'd like to find out.
You must
Right.
know,
Master?
surely.
Like crabs without shells.
I just thought of something really awful. Like one of the
Naked
quotes
Alexei?
on the no.
Okay.
A
There's
quote on the
actually
back of the
artwork
book
of them naked. I can
would
find it for
be
you.
gives whole new meaning to come to the prison. Come to the prison, Guardian.
Prison of Elders gives a new
Prison-
meaning to
Whoa.
Prison of Elders.
Prison Bells also has new meaning in this book. Yes.
Oh, here you go. Do you want to bring up a photo of them?
Is it
naked?
actually,
Naked
if it's
Alexei?
an artistic drawing,
Yeah,
then
it's
it's
artistic,
Twitch
yeah.
safe.
No, but you have
It's
to
not
label
artistic.
it if it's artistic nudity. So,
Oh.
oh, that's
It's
not
not-
artistic
Oh.
nudity. There's no
Oh,
nudity. there.
yeah.
That's not very,
There you go.
not
That's
very
the-
sexy.
Are
they
I gotta say.
It still looks
Well,
like
I
armor.
mean,
Wait, what
if
is
you've
this?
got if you've got an exoskeleton,
Elixir.
does it count as being naked or?
Mm,
No,
are
that's
bugs
true.
naked?
Yeah.
Are bug
Yeah, they are.
snaking.
But like
I don't
as
know, or do they-
humans, we don't find it offensive. You know, that's what it really is. Because like end of the day, nudity is not offensive, but for some reason,
You don't know if I find it
You know.
offensive.
I find
That's right.
cockroach nudity very offensive.
I could be offended by
They're rubbing
cockroach
their
nudity.
junk
Yeah.
all over the place. It's gross.
right? Rubbing their junk all over the place. Wow.
Ninwinder says, do you think Bungie will ever make the DLC pre-WQ or even including WQ at this point free for all players? I'd wager most hardcore players would welcome that decision.
By the way,
Yeah.
just fast note, I saw on the Epic store right now until December
Yes.
20th. Yeah,
Yep.
Witch
Yes.
Queen and beyond. All this is free up
that's
through
true.
Witch Queen right now, technically.
Now, okay, I actually don't know this. if I went over to the Epic store and got all that stuff, that's not then going to be compatible with my Steam stuff, though, right?
No.
But my game save will move over.
Yeah, so you'll have
So
everything up through the Witch Queen.
The
So,
only
but you're going to be
difference-
missing dungeons and,
Like
you
the
know,
newest stuff.
yeah, and add-on stuff like that too.
Yeah. But your game save moves over. Would all your weapons move over? If you say you went over to the Epic store, you re-downloaded the free version of Destiny that they got over there. Could you play all the old stuff with the weapons that you had earned in the Steam version, even though you didn't own it in the Epic store version?
We should try because that's something I'm always wondering
I
is
think
like
yes. I think yes.
Yeah.
So, like a good example actually that I could test is let's see, I got the Navigator, which is the Strand exotic from the dungeon
Yeah.
from the last one. So would I can just bring that over and it would work fine as long as
Oh,
but
yeah.
I couldn't play the
Yeah.
dungeon. I would just have
Yeah.
the weapon. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
And
I'm
then
pretty
can
sure
you
yeah.
matchmake with Steam people? Like Epic and Steam
Yeah.
people, they matchmake. It's just all PC. Is it
Everything's
the same
crossplay.
basic client? It just depends on who you bought it from.
Well, the whole game is crossplay now, right? So it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
everybody's
true.
saying in chat the gear carries, the weapons carry over.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
That makes it fluid. But from a content side, yeah, there'd be seasonal stuff and anything that was add-on that'd be missing. But yeah, I mean that's dope. That gets you pretty up to speed. I mean, I would definitely do it just as like a
Yeah, but
I don't know why
wanna
you
be
need
in
a
that
fail
Epic
safe,
store.
but-
It sucks. I hate it. Use
just because.
use coupon code Briar Rabbit in the Epic store.
You know what really annoys me about the Epic Store? On
What?
Steam, when you click on a game, it takes you to like the game's page, is how many hours you play, and then you press play. On Epic
Yeah, I
Store,
like that.
as soon as you click on the tile, it just launches the game straight away.
Ah.
You have to,
Oh,
you have to like
Yeah.
right click on it and go to like store page, like see the details on it.
It just
kinda
is not
pisses me
built
off.
out like the
you accidentally. Yeah.
Steam is such a fully featured product in and of itself, like as a client. Like there's so much you can do inside Steam to like support it. Plus you got that big picture mode. Plus you got the Steam Deck. Like I don't know, it's just such an attractive place to buy digital products. Whereas Epic, I mean, you're still playing the same game, and frankly, they give away a lot of free games that you
Yeah.
should definitely go get for free. Right? I think right now they got
Yeah.
I forgot Gigabash, which is that like Godzilla versus kind of fighting game, which is kind of fun.
They do give a lot of free stuff on Epic.
But yeah, it's just not. It doesn't feel like finished, and it's been out for now
I don't
many
know.
years. And it
It's-
feels like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that feels overcomplicated. Like seriously, I get the accidentally launching a game thing because that's happened to me too, Mylan. But part of that's like I just don't use it enough to think about it. And maybe Steam has trained you the idea that if you click on the name, like Steam, by the way, is like an old website.
yeah,
Like
that's
we
true.
shouldn't be giving any awards to what Steam is, but
But there's
it
so much
is
stuff
very
you can do on it, Fran. Like
it's
I
got
can
a
scroll
lot-
down, I can see all
yes.
the DLC that's available.
Friends,
I can see
achievements,
Yeah.
points. Totally agree. But like, that's my exact point. Is like we don't really need all that for most. We're just trying to like buy and play a game most of the time
yeah,
and
most of
friend
the
up.
time, you're right.
And Epic does all those things. Like I don't have any trouble with that.
Yeah, the gameplay is the same.
So yeah, so like I don't think it's that big of a deal. But
Considering
yeah,
that,
I would like.
People were really against. I don't know if you remember when Epic like kind of launched as a platform.
yeah, it
how
was super
yeah.
fun.
against
That's
people
why I
were.
make the joke of having a coupon code.
Because people are so
I don't have
attached
a
to
coupon
Steam.
code.
And I mean, the irony, but the irony is like Epic is in some cases, right, giving people better deals
Yeah.
Oh,
because
they give
Steam takes more.
developers
Yeah.
way better deals
Yeah.
for
Well,
developers.
if you use Unreal,
yeah.
I think. I don't know if they give you a better deal if you're
No,
not.
just in general. Yeah, if you're on Unreal, they take a smaller cut.
Yes, but you have to be on
Developers do
Unreal.
get more. No,
But yeah, I mean that. But that's exactly.
you don't have to be on Unreal to get less money to taken from you.
It's always less than Steam's 30% or whatever you're saying.
Yeah, because you're basically saying like, I will not have this larger install base, but you will take less money from me.
Right.
So Steam's probably going to get more eyes on your game, but they do take more money from it.
Yeah. But that was basically the point, though. It's like that is honestly, people are against it because like it was a new thing, and Epic's certainly not a perfect company, but they are trying to get developers more money, and that's why Epic is, with the store. That's a big part of it. I mean, obviously they want to collect more money too, but there's a benefit to buying games on there. By the way, Alan Wake, it was like $40 now. It was already $10 cheaper, and now it's another $10 off for the holidays.
Dang.
Alan Wake 2, I think, right? And I was like, wow.
I really want to play that. I might buy it.
Me too.
It's on sale right now. I really want to play that.
That's what I saw.
I think on the great.
Yeah, it might be on sale on Steam too. I'm not sure.
I'm halfway through my Alan Wake 1 replay through. I want to like refresh before going in.
Are you gonna do like
that's a big commitment to build?
Yeah, are you gonna do American Nightmares DLC?
No, I'm not gonna do the whole DLCs and everything.
Here's the thing: you can't.
But I did.
You would have been better off doing that rather than playing just Alan Wake 1.
Well, I did do the DLC for Control. That was Alan Wake, so I did that at least.
That's good.
That's good.
Thank
that
God.
helps.
We're starting to worry.
You're okay.
Native Raider says, I've been playing the finals this past week and enjoying it. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Talk about
do
that.
you think it will become a big esports game?
The finals is really freaking fun. I gotta say, as someone who hasn't enjoyed like 99% of the shooters that have come out recently, because it's like BRs, and I like the way that Apex feels, but I'm just not really a BR person. Or it's like the really slow tactical arena shooter. Those are the two things that have been happening. And the finals is the first game in like 8 years that I've enjoyed that's an FPS game, because it's high mobility, super fast, chaos. You respawn, so it's not like you die and then you're dead forever. Yeah, it's really, really, really fun. It's so
good.
fun.
It's very easy to play another game of that and just keep going. And then you realize it's like 2:00 in the morning. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, and it's free.
Right? It's free. It's cross-play. It's cross-progression.
How do they support it? Is it like they sell skins and stuff?
Yeah, there's and also, so they're doing what I would say an ethical battle pass these days, which is where you earn the money back that you spent on the battle pass through the battle pass. So as long as you are completing a battle pass, you can pay for the next battle pass. And they also have something called a starter kit.
Ooh.
Which,
Does it have exotic weapons in it?
So it gives you skins, but it gives you the money back that you spent on the pack. It gives you back in the pack. So say you spend $10, you buy the pack, you get the $10 back, and then you can spend the $10 to get the battle pass, and then the battle pass gives you the $10 back to get the next battle pass.
Oh, interesting.
It's great. Yeah. Nope. It's really fun though. Just try it. It's free. It's on everything. Just give it a try. Because if you're someone who hasn't really gotten down with BRs and there hasn't been an arena shooter that's come out that's really doing it for you, this one might be it.
Do you think it'll become the next big esports game?
It could definitely be an esport for sure. I don't know about big, but yeah, it could definitely be an esport.
Yeah, it could be.
Lots of communication. Team?
It's very good at a casual game at the moment as well. I think everyone's enjoying it because it can be serious but also goofy at the same time. It's one of those. It gets that balance really well where, like, you get killed. I'm not like slamming my desk all the time, and when you pull off a play, like it's really fun, or you like destroy a building, it's really fun, or you get like a good team composition and it's fun. But because you get back in the action, I don't know. I haven't felt like the anger of a PvP game come through yet, because it's just...
Yeah, me neither, actually.
I've kind of been like, yeah, good play if someone... maybe it's because it's just new. The meta hasn't like quite cemented yet, where things are like annoying, and like every now and then you get like this annoying combination. You're like, oh, but most time I'm like, oh, that's clever, you little shit. I'm gonna try that, and then I'll like, I'll switch up my equipment to, to doing a shield and a shotgun and try and play it that way. I'm like, okay, I'll try it that way.
We have the thing as well in the finals that you can break everything, all the buildings, all the
Ooh.
floor, like you can destroy everything. So if there is a team that's kind of camped out and just sitting on the objective, you can just destroy the building. And then there you go. Their whole setup is done.
Are the maps
You
like
can
pretty
feel-
big? He's talking
the
about like
maps are
destroying a
huge,
building?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many players are in a game?
One of the modes is
9 and 12.
Yeah, 3 teams and
Okay.
3 teams of 3 and 4 teams of 3.
What is
Yeah.
there like a main objective type game mode that is the like main, or is it just like team deathmatch?
There's two types of objectives, like 2 types of game modes, and one of them is you essentially collect a vault from one location, and everyone's trying to get the same vault, and you take it to like a deposit, which is like A, B, or C, like a control point, and there's a timer for how long it takes to deposit. So you go from like attacking, picking up the objective, and then placing the objective, and then like trying to lock down an area. And I guess the spin of this game is because the world's destructible, there's lots of different ways you can approach someone who's protecting a point. Like, for example, if it's above you, you can actually like shoot a rocket launcher and you can like knock it down.
Okay.
And then you can like knock it down a level. And if you're defending, you've got like defensive tools like landmines and barricades and, almost a little bit like Rainbow, like a really fast-paced Rainbow Six Siege. Like you kind of like setting up different things with the environment to try to defend your zone. And then other people like blowing out walls and knocking the building down and knocking out the floor and that kind of stuff. And all your
That's cool.
equipment and kit kind of works around this idea of an objective that, the environment's, a player kind of deal. Like it's really based heavily in like manipulating the environment to your advantage to win an objective.
Yep.
So it makes it quite fun.
Cool.
It's really fun.
In my head,
And
I was
it's-
picturing like a smaller scale, like faster paced, like Battlefield, like one of their new like destructible type games.
You,
Now.
you feel the Battlefield DNA heavily. Like
Oh yeah. Okay.
when I picked it up, I was like, this feels like it feels like a first person shooter from Battlefield.
Okay.
But not in a bad way, because sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like Battlefield's a bit like
And I don't like
sluggish.
Battlefield.
It's kind of
so-
clunky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like clunky, but I actually think it's only the heavy class that kind of feels like that. When you play the medium and because actually the medium and light class, they have different healths, they have different movement speeds, they have
Different weapons,
they have
different
different weapons.
Yeah.
Like the heavy class kind of feels like you're playing Battlefield. The light and medium class feels a lot better to like Apex or whatever. They actually they
Nice.
slide further. They got grapple hooks. They got movement abilities. They're really zippy, but they got less health. So
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I need to download it.
Really, really good. We should play together.
Let's do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Watts does her dailies every day.
Got to do the dailies.
Oh, really?
That's how you buy the new weapons. Got to get your dailies done.
You gotta get your battle pass done.
Yeah, it looks cool. I need to check it out because I've been saying the same thing. Like, battle rails and stuff have burned me out, and I've been playing Halo Infinite as a reminder. They got a winter event coming up, but I just have instant joy, and hopefully, finals bring some of that too. I'm always down for something new.
I convinced my friend group to all play it after they all poo-pooed on it, and then all of a sudden I went into the Discord and what were they all playing? They're all playing the finals, and everyone's like,
Got him.
"This is kind of good." I said, "I fucking told you it was good. It's pretty good." And they're like, yeah, it's pretty good.
That's good.
Casper J says this question is for Mylan. Do you think anyone can wield darkness powers? It seems with the light you have to be chosen, but not with the darkness. Osiris is the perfect example, or maybe it's because he understands how the power works, being a former guardian.
Everyone can do it. I made a video about it quite a while ago, and it kind of came up again. It came up again this week in the story, in the radio message. Osiris is like, "Yeah, I've been playing around with it. I've been using it a
It was
bit.
pretty cute. I like it.
I'm still, kind of still has all the dangers of dying still while I throw around magic, but yeah, it's pretty cool." Yeah, so I actually think they are setting up Osiris to go into battle. I wouldn't be surprised We could probably lose him. I feel like they
You
the
could
long
probably
con.
lose him. Let's freaking get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
Don't need him.
Once you know what the veil is, there's no need to have a Cyrus around banging on about the veil. So
Maybe
yeah.
he's the one that goes.
Remember that comic book they
Dang,
did?
I love
with
his voice.
Osiris?
Yep.
Way back.
Yep.
Yep.
Did they ever do
got
another
it.
issue of that? Was it just a single issue comic book?
No, people got really shitty about the comic books because they kind of like. It's one of those things like when you start putting things into detail, it's very easy to like accidentally draw people that shouldn't be at like certain events. You know, like they drew like a picture of the consensus, and everyone's like, why are they there? They shouldn't fucking be there. They're not part of the consensus. You're like, oh,
Do you mean
God, did no
people
one
were
tell
really
the
shitty,
artists?
or do you mean lore hobbits were really shitty?
Lore hobbits are really shit. Well, no, not my hobbits. Not my hobbits. My hobbits are beautiful. Lore. No, but I just think it's hard. Like, there's so much intricacies with Destiny's lore. Like, you're gonna get stuff wrong if you start putting it all in picture form, because there's too much detail to tell like an artist like draw this, draw that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then you got to fill in the blanks, and you accidentally fill in the blanks with like the wrong stuff. So
Like, no,
I don't know,
not that
but-
one. Oh no.
yeah,
Messed it
exactly,
up.
Yeah. Not that tower, the other tower. God damn it.
Nate Mowry says, want to hear everyone's favorite weapon throughout Destiny 2. Either their favorite part of getting the weapon or just the moment in using it.
Favorite weapon.
My favorite weapon is that crossbow I've never used. First time in the dungeon, just because Watts got angry about it.
I was pretty upset
crossbow?
about it. I was pretty upset.
I freaking
don't
love
know.
the rocket sidearm. Volt shot. It's so cool. I feel like mine changes every week. I don't feel like I can't get stuck in nostalgia with Destiny, because then that's when the game becomes stale. And as long as I just embrace whatever the new thing is, it's like, oh, it's kind of fresh. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's more basic. For whatever reason, I've mentioned it before. The Reckless Oracle, the auto rifle from Garden of Salvation, like just the sound effects. It's a high RPM auto, but the alien nature of it and the design, like, and it's void. It just matches, and I'm always using it. It's so good. It's a little more basic choice, but I love it.
Those weapons are so good. Zealot's Reward, such a cool design. All those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's important to remember, like, that's what Bungie is so freaking good at, is the feel of all these different guns, man. The magic of, you know, their little audio design meets animation meets bullet feel, etc. But yeah, a lot of different guns to love, but that one stands out for me. I was trying to think of an exotic, and I'm like, yeah, they all tend to be more of a meta. I was trying to think if there's like an exotic that I just like love. Since I like swords, I like the design of the what's the void dark sword thingy?
Black Talon.
Not that one, but that one's cool.
Oh, not that
Oh,
one.
The
the
other more rare
dungeon
one from the
one?
dungeon, which I worked to get.
Oh, the one that makes you invisible after you hit
Yeah.
someone. What is that?
It's dope.
It is cool. It is
The
a
dark
cool one.
something. But anyway, that's one of my exotic faves, I think.
I don't
Heart
know. Mine
Shadow.
changes a
Thank
lot.
you, PTD. Heart Shadow.
Changes a lot.
Yeah.
Probably Devil's Ruin at the moment.
Devil's Ruin. Oh,
That one is cool.
With
very cool.
Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. That's my jam at the
so
moment.
good.
Yep.
It's almost illegal to use that in checkmate too.
It is. It is. I know. It is indeed.
Bugo16 says, favorite holiday movie?
Oh.
Didn't we answer this last week?
Oh.
Did we?
It's a tie for me between Christmas Vacation and Four Christmases.
Christmas Vacation is amazing movie.
Vince Vaughn is so funny in Four Christmases, but yet Christmas Vacation is just like classic. It's so great and bad.
There was a movie, I think it was
Don't
called
know if I have a
Spirited,
favorite,
that
but-
came out last year with Ryan Reynolds and what's his name? He was an elf.
Spirited. I haven't seen.
I know what you're talking about.
It wasn't a great movie, but it had one scene in it where they did like a song, like a musical number, and it was just about like cursing people off. It was really funny.
I think Elf's a good one. I'm just like
Elf is
thinking,
good,
like,
yeah.
I don't think I have like a
Christmas
favorite one, but
yeah.
Elf came up. I was like, Elf is it's a good one.
Christmas Vacation is just so hard to beat, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna agree with
Yeah.
that. But I'm gonna throw in Bad Santa because
Bad
Bad Santa's
Santa.
just
Yeah, that is a
so
good
good. So good. If not for everybody, but
What is the name of the kid from Bad Santa?
I don't know.
Herman
The
Merman.
wooden,
One of my
the wooden
friends
pickle.
called one of my other friends Herman Merman the other day. I almost lost my shit.
If you had a drink,
Herman
you would have spit
Merman.
that so far. Like, did you?
Just that
Oh,
sounds the most
Thurman
insulting.
Merman.
Thurman Merman.
Thurman Merman, yeah.
It's the most insulting thing I've ever heard.
Let's get the
in my
wooden
life.
pickle, I think. Oh my God. Thurman Merman.
Three Bros, One Controller podcast says, Riven says the Scorn obey their new master. Can you explain top lore master Mylan?
Bro, I'm not your guy anymore. You guys gotta
True.
start. You gotta start reading your own goddamn law.
It's true.
Oh, wow.
Mylan doesn't do lore anymore. It's over.
Who?
Come on,
The
Miley.
Scorn is probably the winners. Is it the winners? Use your brain. Read the law book. You tell me. I'm sick of it. I've been doing it for a decade. You do it.
No idea.
He's on break. All right. I refuse to
Look,
believe.
you want to
You'll
answer?
never tell
Come,
us.
come into my stream when we've got other people who still read the law and ask then, and then I'll ask chat.
We're gonna have to ask that cross.
That's how it works.
Yeah, who's doing the lore these days?
Well, apparently you for buying once.
I am recording a voiceover for one of Bife's videos because he's still
Nice.
sick and can't speak.
Oh,
Oh, that's
So-
awesome.
Yeah, so I will be reading his script for one of his videos.
Nice.
And I was like, Mylan, I'll read your scripts. I can read. I can say
Yeah,
words.
My
It's
my
easy.
voice seems to always go away every time I go to make a Destiny law video. It just disappears.
Blazik18 says, what is the best under $20 gift for a white elephant, and why is it a calendar of dogs pooping? You
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
know what
No,
a
that's a
white
great
elephant
one.
is?
Oh yeah.
That's Secret
Yep.
Santa. Secret Santa.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
That calendar
Pooping
is
Dogs
great.
is a good one.
Mm.
It is a
So-
good one.
You guys want to hear a funny story about Log? We know Log. Used to
Oh,
do
I
a
heard about
podcast on
this.
Log. Yeah, Log got an official report from HR because he gave a blow up doll to his boss.
That sounds so
No.
funny.
An artistically
A
nude
Secret
blow up
Santa.
doll.
Yeah, a nude blow up doll.
Oh, good.
Can't be doing
Why
that.
can no one take a joke? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Come on, that's great.
Just thought, you guys, you keep fucking us over. Why don't you fuck this?
I ordered
man.
4 of those musical cards, like the ones that you open up and it starts playing Christmas music,
Oh, it's
except they
annoying.
play for 60 minutes straight. And
Oh,
when you close
man.
it doesn't stop playing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
That's pretty good.
They're all getting sent in the mail, though. None of them are getting opened at my house.
Yeah, true.
Good. That's a good idea.
Didn't want to test it? Make sure it still
No.
works?
I'll just trust it. Lone Wolf says, try to get a few friends into Destiny 2, all quitting prematurely, citing similar but awful new player experiences. If new
Ooh.
players are the lifeblood for any multiplayer game that wants to survive, why hasn't Bungie fixed it in all of these years?
A great question.
Great
It is
question.
a great question.
Because, yeah, wouldn't you think that that's kind of a no-brainer to do, right? Is to make the new player experience good, hook people in. I mean, so when they had the, it was Season of Plunder when that happened, when they had the Thunderlord, like Gift of the Thunderlord
Yeah.
Mm,
thing.
the chest. Yeah.
That was
kind of good.
one thing that helped a lot because it's like, here's a chest that gives you everything you need to play the current content. Go do whatever you want. Of course, it's not great, but we don't even have that anymore. So people are looking at, what do I buy? Where do I go? How do I get caught up? And it's just, there's just no way to navigate this game.
It
Yep.
does.
I
Seem
can't
like
believe
it should
they-
be prioritized.
I can't
think
believe
so.
they didn't do it whenever it went free to play, like that they didn't have a plan at that time. Like, cause that was the biggest push they could have ever had was, hey, this game's gonna be free. I had one of my best friends who like wasn't into video games whenever it was one of the guitarists for the band I was in. Like he wasn't into video games whenever we were on the road together. And so he'd always see me play Destiny and stuff. And then he got into games because of Zelda, like later on a Switch. And then he bought, or he like, finally, I guess, I don't know, got a PlayStation at some point, and he downloaded Destiny and like gave it a legit shot. Like he played a bunch of the activities and stuff, but there was just nothing for him to hold on to grasp like what was happening. And just like to have someone give it a legit shot and not like after several hours just have no idea what's going on is just such a bummer. Like there's just so much opportunity to bring people in.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
sad.
I don't think it's for lack of wanting to do it. I think you're looking again at a year that they've been struggling to retain player engagement. They are just chasing this monster that they've created. And it is like we can see what's happening. It's very hard to support live service games, and they know better than anyone. But even them, right? Like I think they've been over their head since day one, right? And that monster's been loose, so they've done their best and they've done amazing things alongside of that. But like in other words, if you got to make a choice, are you gonna put all your effort into Final Shape, maybe some of the dungeons, right? Or are you gonna stretch out the seasons to be better, or are you gonna redesign your? Not that it doesn't need to be done though. But Fireteam Finder's happening, and I think it's part of it at least.
Definitely.
And that was my big thing is once I look at I call it the director now. I'm telling you, go press find, you will be surprised at what happens. It's this really nice front menu where it's like campaign, Gambit, Crucible, etc. It's like this really nicely chaptered, organized thing that makes a lot of sense for the like most part. Some of those terms won't make sense to you if you're not a Destiny player, but still to see that like top level root directory, if it makes sense. I'm like, remember when we kind of had that on the left side? They need to restore some of that. Maybe the Fireteam Finder is part of that effort, and we still don't know what's coming with Final Shape. And I hope that maybe that's a bit part of it is like when I look at the director as it is now, it's just crazy. And that's part of why people are lost. I think we need to not send people to like 12 different planets with a ton of glowing bouncing things is like your point of entry. Then the other thing they did that's kind of hidden in the background that shows a little signs of life is when you are doing a quest, it says launch on that step, which is crazy to me that it exists. But that actually, if you know that it exists, it's surprising. It smooths things out. I don't think new players know that it exists, but those who do are lucky. Yeah, every step launches you. Even though it's not perfect, it'll bring you to where you need to go. Even if you're not sure which blinking thing you need to go to, it's a step forward. So
okay.
Let's see. Autobot Dawson says, "What's a Game Awards opinion you had that your peers disagreed with? For me, it was that the new Zelda was the best game of the year, possibly of all time, when you factor in its impressive physics. I found it to be far better than Breath of the Wild, which I already loved." You can just say all that stuff and then just substitute Street Fighter 6. We're in agreement.
It's funny. It's because Zelda released early in the year and people just tend to sour on stuff. Because like when Zelda came out, everyone was saying it's the best game. It's the greatest game. That's all you saw everywhere. It was like, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great. And then as time went by, it was like more and more people were like, yeah, well, it's not that good. I don't know. So yeah, I think, if you have that opinion, I don't think you're.
There was, that's like, it's the reality is, right? It's just to Briar's point almost, right? It's so subjective. Like everybody's going to have their favorite game of the year. So that's just going to happen. I don't think you can, this year, there's so many good games that were on that list. So I don't think you could have gone wrong with any of them. But yeah, Watts is right. Stuff that released and is old. Like actually, I would put Cyberpunk with Phantom Liberty on the game of the year, list, but because of the criteria and the way it works, it's not considered in the same way. But yeah, I think there were plenty of controversial opinions about the Game Awards. More than anything, people.
Yeah. Remnant 2. I think that was the only thing I wish got a little bit more attention. I thought it was a really good release, and kind of went underneath the radar. I was surprised how much Alan Wake 2. Like I voted Alan Wake 2 in like nearly every category, but I was surprised it actually took out so much as well.
I mean, my opinion was that the Game Awards was, in terms of the awards, was just really bad across the board. But
they
I
give
don't
out
think
awards?
that
I
I
hardly
don't think
noticed.
people. Exactly. I don't know if people
Jeez.
really disagree with that opinion.
I think this will be the last question of the night, and then we'll wrap it up for today. Sam says, "What Christmas movie?" I just read that one. Nuge says, "Hey gang, if you could only watch one TV show and movie, what would it be and why?" Mine's The Expanse and Rogue One. Rogue One is underrated.
Show
Yeah,
and
Rogue One, that's
movie.
pretty good.
One TV series and one movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna pick One Piece because then you have like 1,000 something
True.
episodes and it's still going, so that's easy.
Anime
That
for
is
the
true.
win.
A
One movie.
movie.
True Lies is just the best movie ever made, so put that in there.
I haven't
action.
seen it.
You've never seen
What?
I don't watch a lot of movies, so I haven't seen a lot of things.
it? True Lies
Man.
is fun.
This is way too hard of a question.
This
Yeah,
is
it
tough.
is really hard. I've been
Part of me
thinking
wants.
a lot
Yeah, you go,
about
Briar.
Big Trouble in Little China lately. I
Good
can just
movie
watch
right
that
there.
over on loop.
Yeah, like my mind was going to comedy because I think comedy is something that's just easier to watch over and over. But I felt
Yeah.
bad about thinking of that. Like honestly, like Groundhog Day is a great movie. Like
it's a
surprisingly,
great
you could watch it over and over again.
Deeper
It's
than you
that
think it
it
is,
works
too.
well, yeah. But man, I was thinking a lot about Kill Bill for whatever reason as a film that when I see, I can't look away.
What if you only
And I
get
have
Kill
to
Bill
just watch
1 and
something.
never get to see Kill Bill
I
2?
know, and that was going. I was like, they were supposed to release like a volume 1 and 2. There was rumors of
ever
it,
do
and
that?
it never happened, right? I don't think so, right? But I was like, if that was there, I was gonna really. I'd be like, okay, that I could do that because it's so fun to watch.
Yeah. I can't think of a series though. That'd be
For
tough.
series,
Supernatural.
I'm like,
I'd have to go Supernatural.
Supernatural. That's so good. Dang. For me, it's either like Lost, like something like character like driven, that I can get into for a long time, or like just action and some character stuff. Like Daredevil, the Netflix series, is so good all the way through, but also something horror too, because I like love horror stuff, like Channel Zero. That's great. I'd probably go Daredevil. I think overall, and probably something. I think action is just easy for me to rewatch over again, and so probably Winter Soldier for the movie. I think I could watch it
I
forever.
like Winter Soldier. Solid.
I recently wrapped up the first season of Ahsoka, and if that series keeps going as strong as I think the first season was, I could see that making this list because I
Dang.
really like that first season. Although the first episode, I was like, "Oh, I'm not watching the rest of this."
Dude, for me it was Andor. Andor was just
Andor was
solid.
Andor.
Oh my
when's the
Andor
second
was
that was good.
season of
incredible.
that coming?
Yeah,
When's that coming? It's got to be coming soon.
I don't
right?
know.
Damn,
They were
Andor
talking
was
about it the
good.
other day.
It's very good.
Yeah, I'd go comedy for TV and definitely Curb Your Enthusiasm, assuming that
you
all
got
of
a
the
lot of
seasons
episodes,
count. Oh, it's just endlessly
They just
entertaining.
announced actually the last season of that is about to happen.
Season 11, I think. Yeah,
That dude's been making that show for a long time now. Like,
dude is
Crazy.
super rich.
yeah.
Which doesn't matter. I mean, he was already super rich before Curb Your Enthusiasm, so
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't
He had
about
that
it.
Seinfeld money. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Thank you all for watching. Hope you had
Thank you so much, everybody.
We'll be back next week, right? There's nothing about the holidays that's going to mess us up next
Yeah.
week, is there?
Right before everybody gets sent off for the holidays.
Yeah, but we should be good.
Copy that.
All right.
I'm good all the days.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank
be
you so
good.
much. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.